It's okay to feel tired. Sometimes life feels like a constant climb. One more thing to do. One more worry to face. One more burden to carry. But the truth is, you weren't made to carry it all alone. You were made to rest, to find renewal in the arms of a loving God who never sleeps, who never grows weary, and who never turns away. Tonight, as you listen, you don't have to perform or pretend. You don't have to be perfect. This is your space to exhale, to let go of the pressure, the noise, the expectations, and just be. Let the scriptures wash over you like soft rain, cleansing every anxious thought and reminding you that grace is still enough. As the verses unfold, imagine God whispering, "I'm here. I've got you." You don't have to hold it all together. His word brings rest to the restless, hope to the weary, and calm to the anxious. Even if your day was filled with worry, or your heart feels far from peace. Remember, peace isn't something you have to chase. It's already here, waiting for you in His presence. If this message touches your heart, I gently encourage you to subscribe to this channel and share it with someone who may need the same peace tonight. Together, let's spread the soothing truth of God's love, a love that heals, restores, and reminds us we're never alone. Now, find your quiet place. Let every breath slow you down, and as you listen, let the word of God be your lullaby, guiding you into the kind of rest only He can give. Tonight, I invite you to join me with an open heart, seeking solace and peace. Together, let us set aside the day's noise. We let our breath slow. We let shoulders drop. We let the room grow soft around us. I sit where the lamp throws a warm pool of light. A Bible rests on my lap. The pages are worn at the edges. The spine remembers many evenings like this. I breathe in the quiet. I breathe out a long, gentle sigh. The house settles. A small clock marks the slow passage of time. Each tick is a soft footstep, leading us toward rest. I speak in a low voice. I do not rush. The words fall like soft rain. They ask nothing of the mind but to listen. They ask nothing of the heart but to receive a little peace. In this hour, mercy feels near. Hope feels possible. I keep theology light and kind. I keep the language plain. This is not a lesson. It is a shelter. I begin by inviting a simple posture. Sit or lie down as you prefer. Let your hands rest loose, on your lap or at your sides. If a blanket comforts you, fold it over your knees. Let your feet find a steady place. Close your eyes, if that helps. If not, let your gaze soften on the page in front of me. Whatever you choose, choose gentleness. I read not to teach, but to tend. I let the words move like a slow tide. I let them reach the places that ache. I let them wash the edges of worry until the hard parts grow smooth. I read passages that speak of shelter, rest, and steadfast love. I paraphrase with care, staying true to the heart of the Psalms while keeping the tone quiet and restorative. There is comfort in images that do not demand answers. I tell of a shepherd who walks before me and beside me, The figure moves close in the dark valley. The presence is steady, not flashy. The shepherd's steps match my own. The shepherd knows when I tremble. The shepherd knows when I stumble. I let that image sit in the room like a candle. It gives a small, warm light to the parts of the night that frighten. I speak of shelter. I speak of a refuge that stays when storms come. I describe a safe place where the heart can rest, not because danger never comes, but because safety arrives with mercy. I keep the sentences simple. I describe how wind and rain may still beat at the roof, but inside there is calm. I suggest that hope can be as practical as a warm hearth. It does not erase pain, but it gives a hand to hold through it. I guide the breathing. In we take a slow count. Out we let go of tension. We do this a few times. The rhythm makes the mind gentler. The chest loosens. When the body relaxes, the mind finds space. When the mind finds space, the heart hears better. As I read, I note small acts of restoration. I speak about a soul being made whole in small ways. I picture a garden after rain. Soil softens. New green pushes up. The garden does not demand that everything be fixed at once. It shows steady, quiet growth. So does healing. So does mercy. I let that thought settle. There are lines about forgiveness that I render softly. I avoid heavy argument. I do not press doctrine. I simply point to the relief of releasing the weight of blame and being welcomed back. Simply and fully, I ask the listeners to imagine that release is a door opening. Light comes in. A breath of ease follows. The chest relaxes a little more. The back loosens. The world does not instantly reorder, but the load shifts from shoulders to something larger than self. I speak also of guidance. I suggest that light can come for the steps ahead. Sometimes it is a small lamp by the foot of the path. Sometimes it is a steady star. I encourage trust in that dim light. I say that it is enough to take one careful step, enough to fold the next moment into care. We do not have to solve life in a single breath. The path opens with small, faithful steps. I share quiet images of praise that soothe rather than excite. I describe simple thankfulness for the little things, the warmth of a blanket, the steady tick of a clock, the sound of breathing beside us. These are not grand hymns. They are small, true acknowledgments that life continues to give good things, even in the middle of ache. A thankful heart does not deny sorrow. It notices mercy alongside it. When sadness sits heavy, I name it gently. I do not push it away. I let it be seen. I speak words that hold space for tears. I encourage letting them come, as if they are part of a cleansing rain. I suggest there is no shame in feeling tired, or in feeling small. The Psalms themselves speak from honest places. They do not tidy pain into tidy form. They give room for the mess of being human, and then point to a steadier hand. I tuck in short pauses between phrases. After each small image, I let silence settle. These pauses are like breaths in a song. They allow the lines to sink and the soul to catch up. I avoid long theological explanations. I avoid abstract debates. The night needs soft touch, not heavy lifts. I remind the listener that mercy is not earned by busyness. It is given more like rain than like a reward. I do not lecture. I suggest that grace can be gentle and unexpected. It comes in small things, a kind thought, a day where worry loosens, a friend who calls. Sometimes it arrives through silence, a calm room, and a willingness to rest. I let that sink in with a slow exhale. I turn then to trust. I do not demand blind faith. I speak of trust as a steady leaning. Trust is a small tilt toward hope when the rest of the world inclines toward fear. Trust is a choice made again and again, not a single heroic moment. I ask the listener to imagine hands opening instead of clenching. This action eases the body. It eases the mind. It softens the night. I weave images of light and shelter through the evening. I speak of restoration that comes with time. I speak of quiet returns of a spirit that regains balance, of a heart that learns to breathe without rushing. I let the language be plain. I let it be close to the ear, like a gentle hand on the brow. I remind you of the promise of presence. I keep it short and simple. Presence means someone walks beside you when you cannot carry the heavy things alone. Presence means a companion for the dark valleys. Presence does not always change circumstances. Presence changes how we meet them. That is enough tonight. At moments, I ask for a slow inward focus. Notice the rise and fall of breath. Notice the tiny warmth in the chest. Notice the quiet places where anger or fear used to clamp. Gently imagine those places softening. This is not a task to be accomplished quickly. It is a practice to return to. I speak about hope as a steady ember rather than a sudden blaze. I do not promise instant healing. I promise continued care. I promise that mercy finds us petitely, insistently, like dawn pushing through night. Sometimes it is so small that we almost miss it. I ask the listener to look for these small mercies in the coming days. I do not avoid sorrow. I meet it with compassion. I speak of lament as a healthy thing. To cry out is not a sign of weak faith. It is a sign of honest faith. The Psalms include both sorrow and praise. They thread the full range of human feeling into something that guides toward rest. I use this balance to comfort, not to complicate. As the reading continues, I lower my voice further. The room feels thicker with peace. My words become fewer and softer. I shift from describing to simply naming shelter, guidance, restoration, presence, mercy, hope. Each word is a small anchor thrown into the dark. Each word is meant to hold the heart steady. I invite a moment of quiet. No words, only the soft sound of breathing. This is a pause for letting all that has been said settle into the bones. When the pause ends, I offer a gentle invitation to rest, in the assurance that you are not alone in the night. I offer it without fanfare. I offer it with the calm of someone who has sat through many nights and found the same steady hand waiting at the end of each one. I close this part of the evening with a thought about waking. Rest is not an escape. It is preparation. It is a way to meet the next day with a heart that has been cared for. I suggest that whatever tomorrow brings, A rested heart meets it with more clarity. It does not mean that tomorrow will be easy. It means that you will not face it raw and ragged. Reste repère. Rest prepares. I tell the listener that if they like, they can stay with this feeling a little longer. They can repeat a breath rhythm. Imagine the steady presence again. Or simply rest in silence. I do not press a schedule. I only suggest stillness. As I set the book down, I offer a small closing. Be gentle with yourself tonight. Be kind to your dreams. Let mercy find you where you are. Hope will meet you again in the morning. I keep my voice a whisper. The lamp still glows. The clock keeps its slow time. Together, we ease towards sleep. I prepare to move on to the next passage. But for now, I leave you with quiet and a steady hand at your back. The room breathes with us. The night leans in like a friend. Rest is invited. Rest begins. I settle back into the chair. The lamp breathes a soft circle of light. The Bible opens on my knee. The pages whisper as I turn them. I read now for the quiet, not for argument. I read to help the mind soften. I read to steady the heart. We begin with images that rest well in the dark. Picture a wide field after rain. The grass bends, heavy with drops. A pathway runs through it. Not rushed, just enough for one step at a time. We follow that path. It is not bright. It is gentle. It gives room for small feet, and tired ones too. The presence beside us walks with a careful pace. It does not hurry. It notices the weight each step carries. I speak of a sleepless night that finds company. The one who accompanies us knows the names of our aches. The companion does not pretend they are small. The companion brings warmth. A hand rests lightly on the shoulder. The sound of a quiet voice says nothing demanding. It simply stays. This staying is the gift for tonight. A passage about rest for the weary comes next. I describe it simply. Those who carry heavy loads may lay them down. A softer yoke replaces the sharp one. The shoulders drop. The jaw loosens. The thought that insists on doing everything alone begins to loosen its grip. Rest arrives like a friend who brings an extra blanket. It is practical kindness. It is mercy, made gentle. We imagine a table prepared in the open. The table sits in a quiet clearing. Bread is warm. A small bowl of fruit sits beside it. There is a cup of comfort, not extravagant, but full, even when danger lurks at the edges. The table stands steady. Food and warmth do not erase danger. They change how it feels to meet it. The simple feast reminds us that care continues in the middle of hard things. I draw attention to the idea of provision, shown as a steady stream that never quite dries. Even when the well seems empty, water finds a way up again. This is not a promise of constant ease. It is a promise of tending. We are tended in ways that suit the night. Sometimes an unexpected friend calls. Sometimes sleep deepens after a long watching. Sometimes a thought shifts and light returns. These are small mercies. They are enough for tonight. The path sometimes enters a dark valley. I do not avoid the image. The valley feels cold and wide. Its shadows stretch long. Yet there is a staff and a shepherd's presence. This presence steadies the step. The staff guides rather than pushes. The hand that steadies knows when to be firm and when to be soft. The valley does not have to be navigated alone. The company keeps pace, matching each careful footfall. I speak about gentleness towards self. We tend our own wounds the way we would care for a child stumbling on a stone. We do not scold. We gather the hurt and breathe with it. We apply balm slowly. We wrap the hurt in a blanket of patience. Healing is not a race. It comes in small, steady returns. That thought quiets hurry. It invites a slow kindness to the skin and the soul. Some lines speak of being covered by shelter. I describe a safe place under wide wings. The shelter does not lock the world out. It softens the wind that finds us. The shelter allows the heart to relax its tight grips. It is not a fortress that demands perfection. It is a place that receives us just as we are, with ragged edges and honest questions. The shelter bends toward compassion. Breathing together now. I ask for a slow count. In for 4, hold for 2, out for 6. Repeat this 3 times. The breath becomes a slow tide. Chest relaxes. Tension melts from the jaw. The mind finds a little more room to rest. We stay with this until the body follows the signal. The body knows its own pace. We let it set the pace. Later, a passage about peace follows. I keep it soft. Peace is described as a quiet river. The river does not shout. It moves through the land with steady rhythm. It calms the banks. It will not necessarily change the storms that pass, but it steadies the soil beside them. Peace can be present even when the sky is clouded. We lean by the river and let our thoughts smooth like stones under gentle water. I read words about forgiveness in a careful tone. Forgiveness is not a quick wipe of pain. It is a slow unburdening. Picture a sack that has been carried for too long. Each small act of letting go removes a pebble from the pack. Over time, the weight lightens. There is no demand to forgive more than the heart can bear. The invitation is simply to begin with one small pebble. There is also an image of guidance. Imagine a lamp low on a pole, lighting only the next few steps. It is enough. We do not see the entire road, but we see the next good step. We take it, then the lamp shifts with us and shows the next. The work of life unfolds one lit step at a time. Trust grows as each small step proves safe enough. Quiet praise is woven through these thoughts. Praise here is a hush of thanks for small things. The sound of a house settling, the taste of something warm, a single star that refuses to hide. These are tiny, faithful graces. They do not deny grief. They sit beside it like soft chairs. They remind us that not all is lost, even when much is broken. When tears come, let them. I name sorrow without shame. Tears are not an enemy of faith. They are part of the body's language. They tell what words cannot. Imagine each tear as part of a slow river leaving what hurts behind. The ground beside it seems softer afterward. The heart opens a fraction and makes room for new things to grow. I move then to imagery of a steady cup, poured over. Plenty does not always look vast. Sometimes it looks ordinary and constant. a cup kept full by small refills. That sense of abundance steadies us. It says that scarcity is not the only story. Even a slow trickle can be enough to water a seed. If it keeps coming, a gentle thought about waking arrives. Rest prepares for the next day. Sleep is not an escape from responsibility. It is preparation to meet what tomorrow brings with clearer eyes. Even small rest shifts the way decisions feel. Clarity returns like morning light. Slow but sure, I lower my voice. Each sentence grows shorter. The room feels thicker with calm. I name the anchors again. Slowly. Shelter. Presence. Mercy. Rest. Hope. Each name is a small rock dropped into the pond. The ripples move outward. They touch the edges of worry and ease them. We take a deliberate moment of silence. No words. Only breath. Only the soft chair and the lamp. Let the silence hold the things we cannot say. Let it make room. When the pause ends, I offer a brief invitation. Stay here a little longer if you wish. Hold the rhythm of the breath. Picture the lamp, the table, the quiet river. Let the company stay. There is no rush to rise. There is no need to fix the whole world tonight. Before I close this section, I read a few lines that speak of promise. Not a promise to remove every trial. Rather, a promise to be near. Near enough to steady each trembling step. Near enough to warm a chilled heart. Near enough to whisper a small encouragement. That nearness is a gift we can accept in the times we are too tired to fight. I end with a short benediction for the evening. May quiet come. May your shoulders loosen. May small mercies find their way to you in the night. Rest is a kind companion. Let it do its work. The lamp grows dimmer now. The page is soft under my hand. I close the book gently. The sound of the cover is like the closing of a small door. The room breathes along with us. The night leans in, like an old friend. When you are ready, we will open the pages again and let more of the gentle words fold around the coming sleep. For now, let sleep come without hurry. Let the steady presence walk beside you into rest. I remain here a while longer, easing the last edge of wakefulness. The next passage waits. Patient and kind, I pause and breathe with you. The room holds its quiet like a soft cloak. I lower my voice to match it. This hour is a safe place. Judgment has no seat here. Grace leans close instead. Before I read, I set the tone. Breathe in. Hold. Breathe out slowly. Let the chest loosen. Let the jaw unclench. Let the day unburden itself a little. We name nothing to fix. We only make space to be held. The Psalms come now as company. I do not lecture. I offer images that rest well in the night. I let them land like pebbles into a still pond. The ripples spread and then fade. Each ripple is enough. Imagine a Giet harbor. A boat ties up after a long crossing. The ropes slide over the post with a small, trusted sound. The water rocks the hull just so. The harbor does not pretend the journey did not tire you. It only gives a place to tie the boat. Step down and set a blanket on the dock. Food waits in a small crate. A lantern swings. Slow and steady. The idea is simple. A safe place matters. It is enough to be moored for a while. Picture a lantern in a window. It does not banish the whole dark. It only offers a single, warm beam for the next step. That beam is the kind of guidance I speak of. We do not need to see every turn all at once. We need light enough for the step we can take now. One careful step leads to another. The lamp moves with us. I read words that speak of shelter not as a fortress, but as a soft roof over a tired head. Think of an old attic with a quilt stored there. The quilt smells faintly of lemon and cedar. It has stitches in odd places. Someone mended it patiently over years. Each patch holds memories. When you draw the quilt around you, it does not hide the scars. It keeps them warm. Healing is not a sudden erasure. It is stitch by stitch, day by day. The Psalms guide us toward that steady mending. There are lines about a deep-rooted peace. Imagine an ancient tree planted on a hill. Its roots reach past dry seasons and wet ones. The tree does not boast of strength. It simply keeps growing. Its branches give shade without counting the days. That is peace in a small, faithful form. It carries no demand to perform. It allows rest beneath it. The heart of many psalms is mercy. I describe mercy like a morning mist that softens the sharp edges of the field. It does not remove the stones. It smooths them for bare feet. The mist is not dramatic. It is patient. It hangs where wounds are raw and eases the sting enough to breathe. Mercy comes quietly that way. Forgiveness, in this hour, is a gentle untying. Imagine a knot in a rope that has been pulled tight for years. Hands work at it slowly. They do not snap the cord. They loosen one loop at a time. Each small release lightens the load. There is no rush. There is no scolding. Just the careful attention that frees a tethered thing. Trust appears as a leaning, not a blind fall, but a slow tilt toward a steady shoulder. Picture a child learning to walk. They reach an outstretched hand before a first step. The hand is offered, not forced. The step happens with a laugh or a small cry. Trust grows from that first step and the warm hand that never leaves too far behind. I weave in images of restoration. Think of a neglected garden after rain. Seedlings rise where they were pressed down. The gardener does not expect overnight miracles. They gently push soil back by the stem. They water with a careful cup. Growth answers in its own time. So does the soul. Sound is small here. A clock across the room marks the slow hour. Its tick is a steady friend. A kettle cools on the stove. A soft breath from the house's other rooms lets you know you are not alone. This little chorus of ordinary noises is a blessing. They are proof of life that keeps tending us while we rest. I talk about sorrow without shame. Tears have their own work. They wash small things clean. Imagine the eyelid making room. The tear rolls and leaves a trail that teaches gentleness. I do not hurry the ache. I do not ask for polished bravado. I invite honesty. The Psalms themselves carry raw voices, They do not tidy pain. They make room for it and then offer a steady hand afterward. There is also gratitude that feels like a single candle kept lit, not a grand blaze. Just a small flame that refuses to be snuffed. It catches on a memory of warm bread, a friendly knock, a single star. Each tiny thanks is a small coal. They do not banish night, but they keep something warm. I guide our breathing again. In for 4, hold for 2, out for 6. Let the breath slow like a tide. Each exhale softens an edge. Each inhale brings a cool steadiness to the chest. We breathe to make the body a safe place for the heart. Soundless images come next. Imagine a shore where waves lay down shells in patient rows. Each shell holds a little echo from the sea. The shore does not demand the ocean's whole story. It only keeps what washes up and makes it beautiful in its own way. The psalmist's words do the same. They hold small truths for us to carry forward. Prayer here is simple. It is not a long plea. It is a quiet leaning. It looks like hands opening. Palms up. It sounds like a sigh that lets the shoulders fall. If words come, they are few. If none come, the silence is prayer enough. Presence counts more than eloquence. I choose today to speak of mercy that takes up residence in everyday things. A cup washed and put in the cupboard, a note left on a pillow, a return call from someone who remembered. These are the soft, domestic mercies that often arrive unnoticed. They matter in the small ways that stitch life back together. Hope is not a bright Sudenski. It is a hinge. Imagine a door that opens with a quiet creak and reveals a sliver of light. That sliver is enough to step toward overteam. The door swings wider. The hinge needs oil and patience, not force. Hope often requires the same careful tending. I keep theology light and kind. There is nothing here to debate. There are only promises of steady things, a lamp, a harbor, a stitched kilt. These are metaphors for care. They do not solve everything. They offer a posture. They invite rest. Kit praise follows. Small and humble. Thank you for the breath. Thank you for the hands that reach. Thank you for the lamp that lights one step. These are not grand psalms of victory. They are simple acknowledgments that soften the night. When the eyes grow heavy, I slow further. My sentences shorten. I narrow the light. I close the Bible softly and keep my hand over it for a moment. The sound is like a small door latched. The room breathes with us. I offer a brief benediction. Low and slow, may the night be gentle. May the hands that hold you be patient. May small mercies find their way to you in the dark. Rest without hurry. Let the steady things do their work. I leave the lamp dim. The book waits to be opened again. The next passage will be patient and kind. For now, the quiet grows, the house settles. Sleep may come. If it does not, that is all right. The harbor holds. The lantern waits. The quilt is ready. I stay a little while longer in the chair. I listen. The breath in the room becomes one soft tide. When you are ready, we will take up the Psalms again. Tonight, we keep to the slow, steady heartbeat of mercy and hope. I turn the page with care. The lamp throws a steady circle. The book lies open and calm. I speak slowly. The room listens with me. I read a short passage now, one that has soothed many nights. I do not speak it as a lesson. I speak it as a guide. The image is simple. A shepherd walks ahead. The flock follows without hurry. The land opens into green pastures. A quiet stream runs beside them. The scene asks only for trust and rest. I ask you to picture that walk with me. Imagine soft grass underfoot. Dew cools the toes. The sky keeps a gentle blue. No hurry presses the steps. The shepherd knows the path. The shepherd reads the need of each sheep. Where the grass is too thin, a turn leads to a fuller patch. Where the way dips, a hand steadies a faltering foot. The shepherd's voice is low. It calls with a name. The tone has no demand. It invites. The opening of the field feels like permission. Permission to stop striving for a moment. Permission to lie down. Permission to breathe without planning the next task. The flock accepts this kindness because it knows the shepherd's care. I linger on the image of green pastures. The color feels like a small balm. It suggests fullness without flash. It suggests enough for this day. The pastures do not promise an endless feast. They promise what is needed for now. That promise soothes the anxious mind that tries to stockpile peace for every imagined tomorrow. Beside the pastures, water lies still. The surface is glass for the sky. The air tastes cooler near it. The sound of water is small and steady. It does not shout safety. It offers refreshment. The sheep bend their heads. Thirst eases. Bodies that pull through dry stretches relax into the ease of a sip. I speak this way because rest has a body. Muscles unclench when the breath settles. Tension leaves the jaw. The heart can beat at a pace that allows calm thinking. The shepherd's path leads first to these physical mercies. The soul follows the body's cue. Peace begins in a footstep and then spreads. Guidance, in this picture, arrives in quiet ways. A hand on a shoulder, a subtle turn of the head, a stick laid across a small gap to help cross. The shepherd does not pull from a distance. Help appears exactly where it is needed. That is how guidance often works in life. Directions do not always come as grand visions. They come as clear, small nudges toward the next safe step. I give an example that is ordinary. A choice about a conversation. A decision about rest or work. The next step is rarely the whole map. It is the place where you can stand now and breathe. Take that step. Then notice the next light the shepherd gives. Trust grows by following these lit steps, not by solving the whole road at once. Rest and guidance share a rhythm. Rest makes the heart listen better. Listening reveals the next small step. Step after step, guidance becomes trust. Trust loosens the grip on frantic control. It allows the heart to be held when answers remain thin. I am careful to keep the theology light. I do not weigh words with heavy argument. Instead, I point to the practice of leaning. Leaning looks like setting down burdens at the edge of the field. It looks like letting a companion carry a portion. It looks like saying aloud, in the quiet of a room, that one cannot keep all things in the hands at once. Saying, it is relief. It allows a small hope to glow. The shepherd's presence is steady, not flashy. Presence itself heals. It reduces the sense of isolation, even when circumstances do not change. Being accompanied changes the way they feel. A darker valley feels narrower, with a steady shoulder nearby. A cold night warms when someone shares a blanket. Presence is the simple tending the soul needs. I invite a gentle breathing practice now. Breathe in for 4 counts. Hold for 2. Breathe out for 6 counts. Repeat this slowly 3 times. As air comes in, picture fresh grass. As air leaves, imagine a little weight coming off the shoulders. The body answers to rhythm. Mind follows. The shepherd's path seems nearer after a few slow breaths. Imagine one step taken on this path. Do not demand the whole journey. The lamp ahead shows a few feet of safe ground. That light is enough. Walk toward it. Let the step steady the body. Let the breath be the proof that movement is possible. One correct step invites another. I speak also of restoration that looks like routine. A bed made with care. A bowl of soup warmed just enough. A phone call from a friend. These small domestic mercies are the pastures of ordinary life. They do not erase deep pain. They give the body and the mind a place to rest for a time, where healing might begin to breathe. When regret or guilt tightens the chest, picture the shepherd's hand opening. Guilt can feel like a heavy sack that pins the shoulders. Release may not happen in a day. It happens in the repeated choice to move unburdened for a few moments. Each small letting go is a stitch of healing. The shepherd waits, patient and steady, until the choice becomes easier. I avoid complex doctrine here. The images are meant to hold, not to debate. A shepherd who leads to pastures and waters is a picture of care. It speaks to the heart in ways that lists of rules do not. Tonight, the heart needs a picture it can carry into sleep. There is comfort in the routine of the flock. Sheep pace their days by the rhythm of feeding and rest. In their ordinary round, danger appears and is met. Safety does not come from perfect performance. It comes from clinging to the presence that knows the way. For listeners who feel far from peace, this image offers an invitation. Begin the small, faithful rhythm of today. I take a moment to name mercy. Mercy is the soft bend in the shepherd's step to check a lost lamb. Mercy is the portion of green set aside when the field thins. Mercy is not earned by cleverness. It comes like rain, quietly, often from unexpected places. Accepting mercy feels like stepping into the pasture and lying down, without proving worthiness. First, let the mind consider the direction of guidance. Direction often looks backward at first, a remembrance of past kindnesses that became compass points. These recollections act as markers. When fear clouds judgment, recall one small thing that once helped. Use it as a lamp. The next step becomes clearer. I slow my voice. Short sentences, small images. The lamp on the desk shrinks to a dot. The house breathes. Outside, A faint wind moves the leaves. The shepherd's scene feels near enough to touch. The green pastures rest as a memory or a promise. Either way, they offer peace. If sleep arrives, carry the picture with you: soft grass, still water, a steady hand. Let the image be an anchor. If sleep does not come tonight, the scene still stands. Rest exists in small moments. A closed eye for a minute, a breath held a little easier, a fond smile over an ordinary small mercy. I end this section with a short blessing of calm. May the shepherd guide the feet to safe ground. May the waters be still and cool. May mercy find its way to the places that ache. May a steady presence ease the shoulders and steady the heart. I close the book gently for now. The lamp keeps a soft watch. The next passage waits patient and kind. Stay as long as needed in the quiet field. I will be here when you are ready to walk again. I set the book in my lap and take a breath that is longer than the lamp. The lamp keeps a small, steady circle of light. I tell you what I will do now. I will speak what these lines mean to me. I will say them simply. I will let the voice be soft. I begin with a picture of repair. Not a grand overhaul, a gentle mending. Imagine a cracked bowl found at the bottom of a drawer. Someone takes it, rinses it, glues the break with careful hands, and sets it by the window to dry. The bowl does not look the same as before. It has a seam that holds a story. It can hold water again. In the same way, the soul receives attention that is patient and practical. The work is quiet. The shape returns. Usefulness returns. I say that restoration is like the steady work of a potter. Clay that looks tired gets wet again. Fingers press and coax. New shape appears where there was hardness. The potter does not hurry. Time and touch do the work. The soul softens under the same careful attention. Little by little, balance returns. Restoration also sounds like a tune, retuned. Picture a violin that has lost its pitch. A patient hand on the peg. A string tightened, tested, and tuned again until its note is true. The melody does not come all at once. It comes as each string finds harmony. So does the spirit. One small right note at a time. I speak of guidance next. I do not promise a grand map laid out at once. I speak of a hand that points to the next safe step. Imagine walking at dusk on unfamiliar ground. A companion lifts a lantern just far enough to show the next 3 feet. Those feet are what you need. Now, take them. The path beyond waits and becomes visible step by step. Think of guidance as a teacher who walks beside. Not ahead. The teacher watches the pace. The teacher notices the stumbling. Help appears exactly where it will steady. A shaky foot. Guidance is not force. It is a steadying presence that invites the next right thing. It asks only for the small trust of the next step. I speak of right paths in simple terms. These are not rules to prove worth. They are ways that lead to steadiness. They are choices that protect rather than exhaust. They are small habits that tend life a night, set for rest. A word spoken to heal. A hand given away from pride. Each choice builds the path by which the heart moves more freely. Now, I turn to darker places. I do not pretend they are not real. Sometimes the valley is a place of deep shadow. It feels cold and wide. The ceiling of sky seems pressed low. The air tastes like iron and old stones. That valley may be grief, fear, or the long ache of unanswered questions. I name it, so there is no pretending. In the valley, there is company that matters. Presence changes the valley. It does not always change the weather. It changes how the cold is met. Picture a companion who walks in step beside you. There is a steadying arm when the stones are slick. There is a warm scarf offered when wind bites. Presence is practical. It catches the small things that would make walking harder. Comfort comes in many small holes. A hand that rests lightly on an elbow. A voice that hums a familiar tune without demanding words. A breath that matches yours. These things are the rod and staff in plain ways. The rod speaks of protection that gently parts danger. The staff speaks of support you can lean on. Both do the work of keeping steps steady. Fear may rise in the valley. It can feel large. I say this plainly. Fear does not have the last word when company stays close. The heart's quick alarms do not disappear at once. They quiet when a steady presence attends them. The arms that steady do not shame the fear. They simply hold it until the racing slows. Restoration in the valley can be subtle. It looks like a moment when a tight jaw relaxes. It looks like a night where sleep deepens by a fraction. It looks like a thought that loosens its grip for a minute. These small shifts are the beginning of repair. They are signs that tending is working. I give an image of light that returns slowly. Imagine a match struck in a cave. The flare does not banish darkness. It shows a rock near your foot. It helps you find purchase. Then another match. Then a small lantern. Light grows because attention stays. The same holds for hope. It can begin as a tiny match and, with steady tending, become a lamp for the next steps. Restoration is also a return to rightness that helps others. When a heart finds steadiness, hands have more to give. Wounds that were raw begin to hold small kindnesses. The soul that was empty becomes able to give a little warmth. Healing tends a circle. It never needs to be complete to be useful. I describe mercy as a companion who does not count faults. Mercy sits beside weakness without a ledger. It offers a blanket instead. It remembers small kindnesses as proof that care arrives even when performance fails. Mercy moves quietly. It finds the places that ache and stays with them. There is a different kind of guidance when the valley is deep. Sometimes protection looks like a path that avoids a pit. Sometimes it looks like corrective words that keep one from repeating harm. Correction here is gentle. It is not punishment. Think of a walking stick that nudges the ankle back to safe ground. The nudge keeps the walk possible. I ask you now to breathe with me. Breathe in slowly for 4 counts. Hold 2. Breathe out for 6. Repeat once. Let each breath be a small return. Imagine air as a soft mender. It flows through the chest like warm resin. It eases the places that tighten. Let a simple image rest in the mind. Picture a small garden hidden between rocks. A spring seeps there. It is not grand. It cannot be seen from the ridge. It is known only to those who enter the hollow, yet it sustains the small patch of green. The valley may feel exposed and raw. A hidden spring can be there all the same. Trust the small places that hold life. I do not offer heavy answers. I only remind you of steady practices. Tend your sleep. Tend your food. Tend a kind word. Let these be the first steps on the path back to balance. Small things stitch a life more than large. Suden acts. I also speak of memory used well. Recall one time when help arrived unexpectedly. Let that memory be a small marker on the way. It proves that help can come. It is a map point for the next step when the valley seems endless. Use it gently. Do not demand the memory to fix everything. Let it be a lamp. When troubles return to the small practices again. Restoration is not a single tidy finish. It is a repeated choosing to lean, to receive, and to step. Each repetition loosens the old tightness a little more. Now, I make the voice lower. The room grows softer with each sentence. Hold the image of a hand at your back. Not overbearing, not demanding. Just there. Steady, warm, ready to push you a finger's breadth when a stumble comes. That presence makes the valley tolerable. If sleep comes now, carry that presence into the dark. If sleep does not come, return to the breath and the image. Let them be small anchors you can use again and again. I will be here with these pages. I will read more when you are ready. Before I close this passage, I remind you restoration is patient work. It does not rush. It returns life in parts. It brings steadiness where shaking was constant. It gives light for the next step. In the deepest valley, presence is the comfort that steadies a trembling foot. I set the book down slowly. I keep my hand over it for a moment, as if sealing a quiet promise. The lamp is dim. The house breathes. Rest leans in like a friend who has walked a long way to sit beside you. When you are ready, we will open the next pages. For now, let the steady presence hold you. Let small restoration do its work. Let the valley be met with a companion at your side. Let the night ease. I lift the page again. The lamp keeps its small circle. My voice is low. I read slowly, not to lecture, but to keep company. There is a line that rests with me tonight. It says that God draws near to the broken. It says that in that nearness there is an embrace. That embrace soothes. It does not fix everything at once. It holds. That holding is enough for this hour. I put the thought into plain pictures. Imagine a father or mother who comes and sits with a child after a fall. No sharp words. No quick fixes. Just hands that press a cold cloth. Whistles to stop the crying, and a blanket wrapped tight. The cry quiets, the cheek grows cool. The small body uncurls. That is the kind of nearness I mean. It is practical and tender. Brokenness can feel loud. It can feel like a crack that runs through the middle of a favorite bowl. The crack changes how light moves through the room. It can make the bowl seem less useful, but someone with glue and care can mend what is broken. The seam shows. Yes, but the bowl holds water again. The mending is itself part of the story. It testifies that the bowl was important enough to repair. So is a heart. Repair tells a story of value and attention. When a heart is raw, shame can come easily. Shame asks why the hurt exists at all. It asks what could have been done differently. Tonight I do not ask you to answer those questions. I only invite a softer posture. Let the shame sit beside the hurt. Let it be named without panic. Say gently, without pressure, that the pain is real and that it matters. Naming is a small, brave act. I read the psalm as an assurance. Nearness is not a distant promise. It is a nearness that walks into the room and takes a seat. It does not demand performances. It comes with hands ready to steady and arms ready to hold. This presence is not a performance review. It is a shelter. Pictures help when words grow thin. Picture an old porch in early morning. A hand rests on the railing. The air tastes cool and sweet. A neighbor brings a pot of hot tea. They say nothing dramatic. They simply hand the cup and sit. The company makes the morning lighter. The cup warms cold fingers. The company is the psalm's nearness. Healing has a rhythm. It is not a one-time event, but a slow tending. Think of a garden in spring. Some bulbs push up early. Some take their time. The gardener does not yank at the soil. They water. They clear the weeds. They wait with quiet faith, year by year. The garden changes. So does the inner life. Small acts of care pile up into restoration. Mercy shows its face in tiny things. A returned smile. A note left on a pillow. A hand that steadies when walking feels unsafe. Mercy is practical. It is the bowl that is washed and the light set near the bed. It is not always dramatic. It is often domestic, quiete, and steady. Those small mercies make a place safe enough to breathe. I invite a simple practice now. Breathe in for 4 counts. Hold for 2. Breathe out for 6. Repeat slowly, 3 times. Let the shoulders drop a little with each exhale. Let the chest register the ease. The body answers when the mind allows rest. The breath is a gentle measure of presence. Fear sometimes creeps in when the heart is broken. Fear imagines all the worst steps. It multiplies what may not come to pass. When fear rises, bring it to the light of a small detail. Name the sound that is real in the room. Name the weight on the limb. Name the fact that a cup is warm on the table. The small facts change the shape of the fear. They make it possible to hold. Forgiveness in this hour is not a command. It is an invitation to unburden. Imagine a pack on a weary back. Forgiveness looks like some stones being taken out. Then more, until the walk gets lighter. Do not rush the removal. Take 1 pebble at a time. Each pebble removed is a sliver of freedom. Trust grows in the slow steps of practice. It looks like choosing rest when the instinct is to keep working. It looks like saying a soft no when the heart needs margin. It looks like letting someone else carry part of a load. Trust is not a single leap. It is a series of small tilts toward reliance. I keep theology light. The Psalm's image of nearness is just that, an image to carry into the dark. It is not a heavy argument to untangle. It is a hand to hold. Let the metaphor do its gentle work without turning it into a debate. Tonight the mind needs images that soothe, not lectures that strain. There will be nights when sorrow wakes again. It may come as a sudden ache or as a dull, persistent grey. When it returns, do the small things that anchor. Return to the breath. Drink warm water. Put a soft blanket over the knees. Repeat a short line that comforts. Allow the body to receive what it needs. Healing does not demand grand gestures. It delights in constancy, presence. I tell you, changes how we meet things. A storm felt alone is a much larger storm than one felt with someone beside us. The presence described by the psalm walks beside and, when needed, carries a small part of the load. That is practical care. It looks like a hand on the shoulder, a voice that does not scold, a light placed near the bed. These acts are simple, they are enough. I speak also of hope as a modest thing. Hope is not a loud proclamation. It is a small ember kept from the wind. It might be a memory of one night when sleep finally came. It might be the taste of soup that warmed a hungry stomach. Hold that ember with care. Tending it is the work of days. Let grief be tended like an heirloom. It may be heavy. It may be valuable. It may carry the shape of the life that loved well. Handle it with respect. Bring it into the light sometimes. Share its story to those who will listen. Stories do not have to solve pain. They make the weight familiar and therefore bearable. The psalm also asks me to remind you that nearness does not always remove the trial. Sometimes the trial remains. Sometimes the valley stretches on. Yet the company alters what the valley does to the traveller. It steadies. It warms. It gives the strength to take another step. That difference is grace. I lower my voice further now. Short sentences. Small images. Let the words become a soft companion. Repeat to yourself, I am not alone. There is care near. I may be broken, but I am held. These simple phrases can serve as pins to fasten a tired garment of thought. If sleep comes, let it take its time. Dreams may be thin at first. That is all right. Rest repairs even in small fragments. If sleep does not come, remain with the breathing and the small images. The lamp will not judge. The room will be patient. Before I close this part, I offer a gentle benediction of sorts. May nearness find the places that ache. May small mercies arrive in hands and sounds. May a quiet peace settle on the broken parts. May hope grow. Slowly, like green at the edge of snow, I close the book carefully. My hand rests on the cover for a moment, as if to promise a return. The lamp still keeps watch. The house breathes. When you are ready, we will open the pages again. For now, let the nearness hold you. Let the night do its slow work. Rest begins. Rest continues. Rest is not hurried. It is patient. It heals. One small step at a time. I sit a little straighter in the chair and let a memory come forward. It is not sharp. It is warm and slow. A small story lives here. the kind that steadies the night. Years ago, someone close to me faces a heavy season. It arrives like a long grey cloud. Work falls away. The body grows thin with worry. Nights lengthen. Blanc stalle. The world narrows to small rooms and quiet thinking hours. I watch them from the doorway more than I speak. Their face keeps a map of strain. At first there is a clench. Breathe holds hard. The hands refuse aid. The voice frames things as a problem to fix alone. I do not push. I do not lecture. I bring a small kindness each day. A hot cup passed over the kitchen table. A blanket folded and set by the chair. A light left on in the hall. The rug under their feet is smoothed. The small things add up. One evening I find a worn Psalms book on the shelf. The edges are softened by touch. Someone once left a note in one corner. A quick line of thanks. I open it and begin to read. Not long passage. Simple lines. Images of shelter. Metaphors of a steady companion for the road. The sentences are short in the book and short from my mouth. They sit well in the room. The first time I read, the listener only moves their hands. They do not yet accept the soft help, but they do not close the door either. The presence of the reading is a small bridge. I read slowly. I let the words land like small stones. Each stone makes a path across the puddle of worry. Night after night, I sit and read. Sometimes I only repeat one line that feels like a warm coin to hold. Sometimes I stop and let silence do its work. The reading is steady. The consistency matters as much as the words. Mercy builds where care is patient. I notice changes that are easy to miss. The shoulders unclench first in the morning. A laugh slips through once in a while over dinner. The sleep deepens for an hour longer. Appetite returns in small ways. The person who carries the burden begins to offer small kindnesses again, without being asked. Those tiny returns are the parts of healing that tell the story. Faith here does not appear as a sudden fix. It is not a dramatic conversion scene. It is, instead, a slow leaning. A few lines from the Psalms become a hinge when fear tightens the chest. The images of being guided, of safe rest, of a hand that steadies become tools to hold. They do not change the facts overnight, but they change how the facts are met. I remember the night the rain is hard and the road is slippery. The house feels smaller because the heart inside it is raw. I bring a bowl of warm broth. It is plain, not a feast. I set it near. The steam rises soft and steady. The cup sits like a small beacon. I sit nearby and read a short psalm about quiet waters and a path that allows rest. The lines do more than comfort. They show a pattern of presence. The person listening leans forward and places a hand over the bowl with a slow, deliberate motion. The hand's tremor steadies. That small steadiness is a marker of change. Prayer in those evenings is modest. It looks like a held breath that becomes a sigh. It looks like two hands loosened on a lap. Words are few. The posture is the prayer, an opening rather than a clenched grip. Prayer and reading arrive as company. No loud claims, no demands. They are simple acts of bearing one another's weight for a time. I bring the Psalms back not to argue doctrine, but to remind us of mercy in practice. The psalmic language gives names to what we feel. It offers images to carry a quiet for the mind, a path for the feet, a hand that steadies when the step is unsure. Those images are small and usable. They help build a rhythm of trust. Community plays its part in plain ways. A neighbor drops a loaf. A friend rings and listens. A card arrives with a few words that do not try to fix anything. Each act is an ordinary example of care. They feel like stitches. Small stitches knit a garment strong enough to wear. The wounded heart learns to accept those stitches one at a time. There is a day when the person I tend rises earlier. The eyes are less shadowed. They walk into the kitchen and make tea for both of us without being asked. It is a small moment, but it matters. It shows life returning to routine. Routine becomes a gentle scaffold. It steadies further progress. I note the change without fanfare. A quiet nod is enough. The small milestones are often the most true. I do not pretend that everything vanishes. Some seasons leave long lines of memory. Loss leaves echoes. But the story I keep for the night is about what steadies during the ache. It is about how faith and ordinary kindness meet. It is about how simple practices, reading a short psalm, offering a meal, sitting in silence, become ways to bear the load. I find that language matters. I use words that soften rather than sharpen. I avoid grand promises. Instead, I point to what can be done in the next hour. Rest a little. Accept one offered cup. Allow one sentence of comfort to do its slow work. The small things are manageable. They build a path out of the heavy parts. There is an image I return to often, a coat with a tear near the shoulder. Someone mends it with careful stitches. The repair does not hide the tear. It secures what is necessary, so the wearer can go on. The mending is visible, but it does the job. The repaired coat is still a coat. It keeps someone warm. That is the kind of repair faith and mercy do. In the hard seasons, practical, visible, and faithful. I also remember sitting by the bedside once while sleep is thin. I read a short line and then sit quietly. My hand rests lightly on a shoulder. The touch is small. The night stretches long. The person breathes. The breaths lengthen and slow. The presence speaks without words. I learn then that being there is sometimes the most eloquent sermon. The world needs a hand more than an answer. If you listen and imagine with me, picture those small acts as luminous seeds. Each kind thing is a seed dropped into the soil of a tired life. Some seeds sprout at once. Many grow slowly. Yet with time and consistent tending, green appears. Strength returns in quiet measures. The patient work proves more lasting than sudden solutions. I teach these practices now as a steady habit. When worry grows, lay down something heavy for a while. Make a hot drink. Set a light near the bed. Read one short line that names mercy. Sit with someone in silence if they need it. These acts are not heroic. They are human. They are what care looks like. Tonight, as I close this small recollection, I invite a slow breath with me. In for 4, Pause. Out for 6. Let the exhale take a little of the tightness. Repeat once more if it helps. The story ends in a gentle place. The person I remember does not become unscarred. The season remains part of their life, but strength returns enough to meet the next day. Comfort comes not as a loud triumph, but as steady presence, a string of small mercies, and the simple practice of reading and listening at the bedside. I set the page down lightly. The lamp throws a soft circle. The room takes the story into itself. If you like, carry this image with you: a warm cup, a mended coat, a hand on the shoulder. Let them be small anchors through the night. Before sleep, hold this in mind: mercy is present in small acts. Strength grows in slow steps. Comfort comes when someone stays. Rest now. Let the night hold what is tired. I will read again when the morning calls. For now, be gentle with yourself and let the quiet do its work. I open the Bible and let my thumb find the page. The lamp paints a soft circle. The house breathes around us. Tonight, I read a short thought from Isaiah that has a gentle way of steadying the lung. When the body is spent, strength can feel distant. Tiredness settle deep, not just in the limbs but in thought. I speak plainly. Strength comes again. It arrives from a source that does not grow weary. The promise is simple. Help comes to those who are worn out. It arrives not as a sudden fix, but as a slow renewal. Picture a bird at dawn. It sits still for a long moment. The wind comes up. A quiet lift moves through the air. The bird stretches its wings. It does not force the sky. It simply opens and lets the current carry it. Rising feels easy when the lift is kind. That is the picture I hold for you. Strength can return like a warm breath under tired wings. I put that image into the room between us. Imagine tired hands. Imagine clenched shoulders. Imagine a chest that has carried worry for too long. Now see a small current pass under those shoulders, a tide of calm, a light steadiness. The body answers when the mind allows the lift. Waiting on God is not a passive vacancy. It is a quiet posture. It looks like sitting in the sun and allowing its warmth to soak in. It looks like leaning against a steady tree and noticing how its bark does not demand anything. Waiting includes small, deliberate acts, breathing deeply, resting without guilt, handing over a tall list of tasks for a while. In those small acts, the heart is allowed to breathe. I guide us now in a gentle breath. Breathe in for 4 counts. Hold for 2. Breathe out for 6. Let the exhale be longer. Repeat this twice. With each exhale, imagine a little more of the weight loosening. With each inhale, picture a cool, steady air filling the chest. The breath becomes a quiet updraft. It is enough to nudge tired wings. There is a rhythm to renewal. It rarely is sudden. It comes as a series of small recoveries. Think of a battery on a porch light. A little charge returns each evening. The sun warms the cell. It does not spring to full life after 1 hour. It gathers slowly. So does strength. The small returns are real. They add up. When impatience asks for proof, answer with small evidence. A deeper sleep tonight than last. a warmer hand when making tea, a thought that loosens its hold long enough to laugh. These are not trivial. They are the first signs that renewal is arriving. Name them gently. Let them be visible, anchors to hold on to when the fog thickens again. In the psalmic and prophetic images I read, waiting is active trust. It is not a demand that God fix every trouble. The troubles may stay. The promise is that when we wait, the heart finds renewed vigor. That renewed vigor does not erase grief. It changes how the grief is carried. The load becomes lighter enough to take another step. That step matters. It compounds. I describe rising like an eagle because the metaphor gives a shape to what rest feels like. The eagle does not flap wildly and strain. It finds an updraft and rides it in the same way. A rested heart finds unseen currents of help. These currents can be a trusted friend's quiet presence. They can be a prayer that settles into the jaw. They can be a verse that repeats until it becomes as steady as the tide. Let these quiet things be the lift. There are nights when waiting feels like nothing at all. The mind wanders to what must be done. The body rebels with restlessness. Here is a small practice. Pick one small, real thing to hand over. A letter to write tomorrow. A list to fold and set aside. Place it gently on the table and say quietly that it will be tended later. The act of handing over, even symbolically, creates room. Room invites the current. Mercy is part of this picture. It settles in like dew. It does not demand effort. It simply moistens the parched places. Imagine dew on dry grass. It does not solve drought. It changes the immediate texture of the blade, enough for life to keep moving. Mercy works in the same small, immediate ways. Notice when someone speaks a kind word. Notice when a song comes on the radio that matches the mood without insisting. These are soft mercies. They build a pattern. Hope sits beside waiting. Hope is not a loud trumpet. It is a steady ember. It needs tending, but not constant scrutiny. Keep it by doing one small, honest thing for the body. Make a warm drink. Fold a blanket. Let the feet find steady shoes tomorrow. Each small act is an ember fed, or time. The ember warms the room. There is a practical side to renewed strength. It shows in clearer thinking. It shows in steadier hands. It shows in the courage to try another small thing. Perhaps a short conversation with someone trusted. Perhaps an errand that has been postponed for a week. The scale is not important. The direction is. Each small forward movement is proof of the updraft taking hold. I avoid heavy words tonight. The insight from Isaiah is gentle when we are weary. There is help that does not tire. Waiting with trust brings a steady renewal. That renewal is shown as fresh wings rather than a sudden, miraculous change overnight. The metaphor helps the soul accept a slower pace. If worry knocks again, respond with gentleness. Ask what is the next small step you can take, not the complete solution, only the immediate care. One step toward clarity calms the nervous system. One small act of rest signals to the body that it can permit repair. The restless mind cannot believe in renewal until the body gives room. Give the body room. There will be mornings when the renewed vigor is obvious. The shoulders sit differently. The walk has a small spring. The mind finds the first line of a thought it could not write the night before. Celebrate the smallness. Do not demand grand evidence. A single morning that feels lighter validates the patient waiting you have done. In the quiet of the room, I close the book's cover a little at a time. The lamp keeps watching. If sleep comes tonight, let these images come along. Let the bird find the updraft. Let the ember glow in a safe place. If wakefulness remains, return to the breath. Breathe in for 4. Hold 2. Breathe out for 6. Repeat until the rhythm steadies. Before I leave this part of the evening, I offer a simple benediction of calm. May small strength find its way into the tired places. May waiting be kinder than you feared. May mercy arrive in soft and practical ways. May hope be a slow ember you can carry into the morning. The lamp dims a fraction. The house keeps its steady sounds. I sit with the book a moment longer. When you are ready, we will open another page. For now, rest into the promise that renewal comes. Let the night lift you like a quiet current. Let the wings unfold. I open the Bible and let my thumb rest on the page. The lamp throws a soft halo. The house breathes around us. Tonight, I hold a small line from Mark in my mind. It invites a quiet practice. It asks the listener to forgive as a habit of the heart. I speak slowly. The words are plain. When we pray, we remember those we hold against us. We are asked to forgive. The asking is gentle. It is not a list of demands. It is an invitation to freedom. Forgiveness is a practice more than a one-time act. It is a habit like breathing. Breathe in, breathe out. The mind learns by return. So does the heart. Start small. Begin with one name, one memory. You do not have to carry everything at once. Imagine a sack on the back. Pebbles rattle inside. Each name, each grievance, places another stone. The shoulders learn to stoop. The step becomes shorter. The world grows heavier. Now picture setting that sack down by a still river. One by one, reach inside and lift a single pebble. Hold it a moment. Breathe in, breathe out. Let the pebble slip into the water. Watch the small splash settle. The current takes the stone. The back feels a fraction lighter. Forgiveness is not a single splash that erases the past. It is the steady choice to loosen one pebble at a time. Sometimes the stones are large. Sometimes they are smooth and old and impossible to throw far. That is okay. Some stones sink near the bank. Some float and move away. The act of letting go still matters. I remind myself in the room that forgiving is not the same as saying the wrong was small. It does not mean that harm is forgotten or that boundaries disappear. Forgiveness is for the one who forgives. It clears the throat of the heart so that breath moves more freely. Bitterness tightens like a belt. Releasing it loosens the chest. Close your hands for a moment. Feel how the fingers press a shape. Hold tight. Now open slowly. The change is small. It is a habit that heals. Releasing one tiny grip makes room for soft things to return. Grace can enter. Peace follows the space left behind. I invite a short exercise now. Breathe in for 4 counts. Hold for 2. Breathe out for 6. With the next inhale, name one thing that is hard to forgive. Speak the name silently. Do not judge what rises. With the exhale, imagine that pebble leaving the hand. Let the breath be the ferryman that takes it. Repeat once more. Gentler this time. Each breath is an action. Each action is a small mercy. Mercy for ourselves deserves a line of its own. Self-forgiveness often feels stranger than forgiving another. It can seem like betraying a standard. I say, plainly forgiving yourself is part of getting well. The eyes that have been harsh can learn to be kinder. The mouth that scolds can learn to speak tenderly. Start with one small forgiving phrase in the quiet. It need not be loud. It only needs to be true. Picture a lamp in a dim room. The lamp does not show the whole house. It shows only the chair by the bedside. That light is enough for the next step. Forgiveness works like that lamp. It does not answer every question. It lights the spot where the foot can go next. Trust the little light. Follow it. There are nights when the offenses feel fresh and raw. Those nights, ask for a softer approach, instead of forcing a grand release. Try a gentle acknowledgement. Name the hurt. Name the feeling. Let the mind place it in a small box. Close the box for a while. Put it on a shelf. You return when you are ready. The shelf keeps it from banging the heart while rest begins. Forgiving someone who will not repent is especially hard. The practice then becomes a private work. It looks like untangling a knot in the mind, so that anger cannot keep its grip. Forgiveness does not hand over trust. It simply frees the hands to do other things. You may still choose distance. You must still set firm bounds. Those choices do not contradict forgiveness. They are safety measures taken with a lighter heart. I tell a small story I remember. Once a neighbor wronged someone close. It cut deep. Over months the wound made the house small. One evening, the injured person sits with a worn psalm and breathes. They imagine placing the sharp edge on the table between them and the door. They do not pick up the edge again that night. In the morning, the edge seems less ominous. Little by little, the anger loses its hold. The neighbor and the wounded person do not pretend the wrong never happened. They simply stop carrying it, like a weight around the neck. The life of the house expands in small ways. The practice of forgiveness honors time. It does not rush the process. Some nights will need more stones to be lifted than others. Some days will need only one. Keep the rhythm steady. Return to the breath. Return to the lamp. Repeat the act. In time, the sack lightens. Grace fills the space that bitterness once filled. Grace is like a soft wind that moves through a room after a window is opened. It brings fresh air, a faint coolness, a scent of outside things. That breeze does not erase the room's history. It simply changes the air. Serenity arrives in that renewed atmosphere. There are gestures that support the inner work. A short note left dansant. A folded paper tucked under a stone on the windowsill. A tiny ritual of setting down without drama. These acts are symbols that the heart can use. They do not make forgiveness mechanical. They make the intention visible. Seeing the small tokens helps the mind remember that something different is happening. I keep the theology light. I say that forgiving is a practice taught in Scripture. It is offered as a way to live lighter. The story in Mark asks that when prayer rises, forgiving be part of the posture. To stand and pray while holding a grudge is to knot the prayer with tension. Release the knot. Let the prayer be a plain breath. When bitterness comes back, do not be harsh. Return to the small steps. Catch the first sign of clenching. Breathe. Name one stone. Let it go. Repeat the simple rituals until the pattern changes. Patterns yield to repetition. Gentle practice rewires the habit of the heart. I pause and let the room breathe with me. A quiet falls like a soft shoal. The lamp hums a steady light. The breath slows. The shoulders loosen. The heart finds a little more room. If reconciliation is possible and safe, it may follow in its time. Words may be spoken. Apologies may come. Rebuilding trust is a separate work, and it moves at its own pace. Forgiveness is the first hand that lets go of the weight. Reconciliation is the hands that may rebuild, if both are willing. Before I close this part, I invite one last breathing exercise. Breathe in for 4 counts. Hold for 2. Breathe out for 6 counts. On the exhale, imagine opening the hands and letting the last pebble fall. Feel the lightening in the chest. Keep the shoulders soft. Let the jaw unclench. I offer a short blessing in a whisper. May peace find the places where bitterness sat. May grace slip into the small crevices of the heart. May mercy be gentle with the parts that still hurt. Hold this blessing lightly. Let it rest. I close the Bible with care. The sound is small. My hand lingers on the cover. I keep the lamp low. I let silence hold the room for a heart that is learning to let go. Rest follows release more easily. Sleep becomes a friend when the sack sits empty on the shore. When morning comes, no demand waits. Only a small invitation to try the practice again. One pebble at a time. One breath at a time. I will be here to read with you when the night calls. For now, let the mercy of this hour settle the shoulders. Let the quiet do its slow work. Sleep in the gentleness of release. I sit here with the lamp low and the book closed for a moment. Tonight, I tell a small parable from my own life. It is not tidy. It is gentle. It tells of a friendship that frays and then heals. Years ago, a close friend and I step into a season of silence. The cause is small at first. An overlooked favor. A word meant for a different ear. Pride rises like a wall between us. Each of us carries a list of slights. The lists grow heavier than they need to be. Hands that once met easily now hesitate. Visits shorten. Laughter thins. The day the distance feels like a room. I notice how ordinary the pain is. It is not dramatic. It is domestic. It sits in missed calls and dishes left cold. The mind protests. The heart learns to make a smaller map. I do not try to prove anything to anyone. I simply choose small, steady acts. I start by writing a note made of honest sentences. I do not frame it as an argument. I tell the truth as best as I can. I name my part in what went wrong. I do not ask for immediate pardon. I fold the paper and leave it on the windowsill, where light can warm it. The act matters more than the outcome. My friend does not respond at once. The note rests on that sill for a day or two. The silence continues, like a low weather. I keep the small habit of bringing a thermos of tea when I walk past their door. I do not insist on conversation. I set the thermos down, press a thumb lightly to the handle, and step back. The gesture is simple. It honors the distance without denying care. One afternoon, the friend opens the door just enough to let a sliver of light out. No long talk follows. Only a motion of a hand that could be the start. I do not rush the opening. I sit on the stoop and let the quiet arrive. The presence of both of us in the same space begins to do the work that words could not do alone. We begin slowly. A shared cup. A short walk that feels like practice. The conversation is careful. Each of us chooses to listen more than to fix. In listening, I learn things about the friend that I had forgotten. The map of their small daily needs appears again. A tiny laugh returns. The friendship reclaims its shape in the ordinary. Forgiveness in that season looks small. It is a decision to stop adding stones to the sack I carry. It is a choice to set down one pebble and not pick it up again. It is a repeated habit rather than a single heroic moment. Each time the old thought rises, I breathe and let go a little more. The friend does the same. One day we sit at a table that has known many meals. We do not rehearse the hurts. We speak of the small mercies that fed us over the weeks. A mended joke slips out. A memory of a shared misstep becomes a shared smile. The house feels roomier. A space that held tension loosens into welcoming. Grace arrives quietly. Like evening light on a familiar chair. That friendship does not become perfect. Fragments of the past remain. They sit like seams in a well-loved coat, but the seams do not make the coat unusable. They tell a story of repair. The two of us learn to carry the story without letting it shrink the friendship. The work of forgiveness turns into the habit of hospitality. We begin to visit more often. We bring each other small, ordinary things. A loaf of bread left at a door, a note taped to the mirror. These are the daily stitches. When I remember that season, I keep a simpler leçon. Forgiveness invites us back into shared life. It does not demand forgetting. It asks for truth and small acts of generosity. The habit that follows is steadier than a dramatic apology. The quiet repetitions do more to transform a friendship than grand gestures alone. These small acts lead me to a larger assurance. I read tonight from memory more than from the page. The Apostle Paul writes in a way that helps a tired heart. He names a truth that is gentle and vast. He says that nothing in creation can finally separate us from the love that is in Christ Jesus. I keep that sentence as a quiet fact for the night. I do not make this a lecture. I offer it as a soft tether. Love holds in ways we cannot always measure. It holds through seasons of cold and through seasons of warmth. The love Paul speaks of does not depend on perfect behavior. It does not vanish when we stumble. Instead, it remains a steady ground beneath the feet. when a friendship frays that love does not automatically fix all things. It does, however, make healing possible. The knowledge that nothing can remove this love is a kind of permission. It permits us to try forgiving without the fear that the work is futile. It lets us risk small kindnesses, because the love beneath them will not be erased. I ask you now to imagine that love as a steady rope tied to a distant pole. The rope runs through your hands. Sometimes the fingers clench in fear. Sometimes they let go. The rope does not snap when the hands tremble. It remains, even when distance grows. The tether holds. The awareness of that tether changes how a person approaches a broken friendship. It makes the first small step less terrifying. I keep my words short here, because the night loves simplicity. If a name or a memory rises that feels heavy, try a small practice with me. Breathe in for 4 counts. Hold for 2. Breathe out for 6 counts. With each exhale, imagine a pebble leaving the hand and sliding gently into a slow river. Watch it go. No hurry. No demand to throw all the stones at once. Let the river do its part. The Apostle's promise comforts me when bitterness stirs. It reminds me that love is not a fragile thing carried by one person alone. It is a well that refills. The promise frees the heart to give mercy without fearing that mercy will be the last thing available. It answers the small voice that asks whether letting go will mean losing everything. There is courage in accepting that love. It calls for patience and for steady habits. Forgiveness is a practice shaped by small acts. It grows when 2 people choose hospitality over pride. It grows when one person offers a cup of tea without conditions. It grows when the other person accepts the cup and does not demand explanation. I remember another evening by the same table. The rain presses at the windows. We sit and listen to the house. The old ache of that season returns in soft echoes. I place my hand on the other's knee, as if to name a presence, rather than to speak. No words fall. The hand is enough. It anchors the room. It says that the tether is not a myth. It says that love remains even when the air is narrow. Do not mistake the gentle tone for smallness. This work holds weight. It asks for courage born of small things. It asks that the hands not be ashamed to carry pebbles down to the river. It asks that the heart be willing to receive the same mercy one hopes to give. As I draw near the close of this part, I fold the larger truth into the small story one last time. The promise that nothing can separate us from Christ's love does 2 things. First, it steadies the soul that fears abandonment. Second, it frees the soul to forgive. If love remains through all the storms, then releasing 1 or 2 pebbles does not strip the heart bare. It lightens the load enough to walk again. If forgiveness feels impossible tonight, begin with a small, private act. Write 1 honest line. Place a cup at a doorstep. Leave a note that does not demand an answer. These actions are seeds. They do not guarantee immediate fruit. They do give the soil a chance to be changed. Breathe with me once more. In for 4. Hold 2. Out for 6. Let the breath carry the memory of the mended table. Let it carry the quiet rope of love that does not break. Let the heart unclench by a fraction. I close this part with a short benediction, spoken as if for the bedside. May the knowledge of steadfast love find your weary places. May mercy make a small way for healing. May forgiveness begin as a tiny act you can repeat. May rest come when the hands grow too tired to hold their grudges any longer. I set the Bible gently down. The lamp hums a soft circle of light. The house listens. If sleep comes, let these images go with you, a mended chair, a cup left at a door, a rope that stays tied. If wakefulness remains, keep the breath and the small axe. I will read again when the night calls. For now, rest into the steady, unending love that holds us all. I hold the thought like a small stone. Nothing can separate us from God's love. The sentence lands and steadying begins. I read it aloud in a low voice. The words make a soft bridge between the page and the room. They are not a lecture. They are a shelter. I find comfort in that claim. It touches the thin places. It meets the spots that ache at night. The idea is simple. It is not loud. It is like a lamp left near a chair. It lets the next step be seen. I keep my sentences small. I let each image have room. Imagine a tether tied to your ankle. It does not hold you tight. It keeps you from drifting into a dark current. The rope is strong. It is not a chain. It allows movement. It allows rest. Love, in this picture, is not a distant fact. It is a steady presence. It sits in the same chair with you. It breathes at the same pace. It does not judge the weariness. It does not tally the mistakes. It offers a quiet hand. When I read scripture, I listen first. The passages I choose tonight are calm. They come like a slow tide. They wash familiar edges. They do not demand clever answers. They invite a slow acceptance of mercy. I remember a night when worry feels loud. Blancs un rave. Sleep moves just out of reach. I opened the Bible and read a line that says, "Love holds through every change." The words settle like balm. My shoulders ease. A small warmth moves down the spine. The body registers less alarm. This love is given, not earned. That fact matters in a tired heart. The night can convince us that worth ties to success. The Psalms and the letters offer a gentler truth. Worth is not measured by neat lists. It is a state. It rests because love is constant. Images help. Picture an ocean with deep, calm water below a restless surface. The waves may tremble at the top. Storms may pass. Below, the water keeps its depth. That depth is like love beneath the churn. The surface will smooth again. The deep does not change because of a single night's wind. Another picture is a long root. A tree spreads roots under soil you cannot see. Drought may scour the surface leaves. Roots still find water. They hold the tree upright. Love in this way is subterranean. It supports when everything on the top looks fragile. I do not promise easy days. I do not say trouble disappears. The promise is steadier. It is that love remains. It does not abandon the hand when it cramps. It does not leave when sleep will not come. It stays as companion. It steadies slow steps. Mercy shows in small movements. A neighbor brings a simple meal. A friend sends a text that says only, "Thinking of you." A forgetful kindness returns a small proof that someone notices. These acts are not grand. They are the soft hands of care that echo the larger truth of love that does not end. When fear rises, I invite a practice. Breathe in slowly for 4 counts. Hold for 2. Breathe out for 6. Let this rhythm become familiar. The breath ties present moments together. It becomes a small flag you can hold when storms batter the mind. Forgiveness connects to this love. I do not urge a single sweeping gesture. I suggest a series of small loosens. Imagine a rope with many knots. Each knot is a grudge or a shame. Undo 1 knot tonight. You may not finish them all. The act of loosening one saves a little of your strength. Love can fill what is emptied by letting go. I speak quietly of mercy toward myself. Self-blame is heavy at night. It tightens the jaw. It keeps the body awake. The psalmist's words invite another posture. They encourage a soft voice. Say, I am allowed to rest. Say, I am not defined by a single error. These phrases do not erase consequences. They do allow the body to breathe again. Hope sits close to love. Hope looks like a thin thread. It will not snap if tended. It must be given small things, a routine, a warm tea, a short walk, a verse read aloud. Each of these is a small flame kept from the wind or a team. The tiny lights join into steadier warmth. I let the language be without sharp edges. I avoid theological disputes. Tonight is not the hour for them. This hour is for calm. It is for assurance that someone greater than the night holds the room. It is for the quiet knowledge that I may lay down what I cannot carry. Sometimes love looks like a quiet neighbor. They do not fix the roof. They sit with you in the rain. They hand you a towel. The practical smallness of mercy matters. It is not always a thunderous rescue. Often it is a bowl of soup and a steady hand on the shoulder. Accept these as love in action. I keep reading from the Bible in this voice. The pages are thin with use. My thumb follows the lines. I choose phrases that are short and clear. I say them slowly so the meaning can rest. The text serves as an anchor. It gives a vocabulary for the quiet feelings that arise. Memory is a helpful teacher. Remember one night when you woke and the room felt wider than the need. Perhaps a friend called. Perhaps a song calmed the edges. Hold that memory as proof. If that small mercy can happen once, it can happen again. Love does not run out because it has been used. It pours and is not diminished. If loneliness presses, choose one small act. Write a short note. Leave a light on. Water a plant. These gestures are like pebbles dropped in a pond. The ripples move outward. The act changes the nervous system of the room. The body notices that something is different. I also speak of belonging. The claim that nothing can separate us from love includes the hard facts of life. Mistakes, failing, seasons of distance. Those things do not cancel the tether. they constrain it. Yet the knot holds. That knowledge frees the heart to try again. There is a tenderness in the thought that love does not tally. It does not keep a ledger of favors and slights. It does not count how many times the lamp was left on late. It only keeps company. That presence is not naive. It is practical. It meets each small need where it stands. When sleep edges slow, I lower my voice further. The pace softens. I return to the breath practice once more. Breathe in for 4. Hold for 2. Breathe out for 6. Let each exhale be a soft letting go. Let the mind follow the rhythm. Let the body fold toward rest. I offer a final image to hold tonight. Picture harbor at dusk. Boats drift close to shore. The water is calm. A light at the headland watches. The boats do not need to be seaworthy to be safe in that moment. The harbor is a reality that accepts them as they are. Love is like that harbor. It receives without demanding perfection. As one who reads these texts at bedtime, I place the Bible on my knee. I close the pages with a gentle motion. The sound is small. It is like the settling of a house at night. I keep the lamp low. The room breathes with us. Before I stand, I say this quietly. You are not alone. The love that is constant surrounds more than feeling. It surrounds you. It meets the worn places. It invites rest. It invites a slow trust. If it helps, keep a small practice for the dark. Choose one line to repeat when fear rises. Keep a candle, a blanket, or a verse by the bedside. Let these be the tools that remind you of the tether. Let them be the small aids that lead you towards sleep. I end this part with a hush. May the steady love find the places that ache. May mercy gather the small fragments you carry. May hope live like a warm ember tonight. Rest now. Let the quiet do its slow, faithful work. When morning comes, the light will hold more than you think. I will read again when dusk returns. For now, sleep and be gentle with yourself. The lamp breathes a slow circle of light. The Bible rests open on my knee. I read softly now, letting the lines settle before I speak. Tonight I keep a short passage with me. Its thought is simple. Do not let anxiety run the night. Bring your cares into a quiet place. Offer thanks. Let a different kind of peace stand guard. Anxiety shows up in many faces. Sometimes it is a loud tide of imagined disasters. Sometimes it is a thin, persistent worry that will not let the jaw unclench. It has a way of making the room smaller. The chest tightens. The mind lists every possible failing. When that clench comes, I do not try to force it away. I name it. I hold it up to the light in the way one shows a wound, to clean it. Naming does not pretend the worry is small. It simply refuses to let it hide in the dark. The scripture I carry tonight invites a posture that is gentle and practical. It says, bring your requests. Present them as you are able. With plain words or with a single breath. Hand them over. Do it with thanksgiving. The thankfulness is not a demand to pretend everything is fine. It is a way to steady the hand that gives. Gratitude becomes a hinge. It opens the clasp that keeps the heart clenched. I offer a small practice here. It is not complicated. It is a pattern for the weary mind. First, gather one worry, only one. It can be the loudest. It can be the one that woke you. Hold it for a moment. Notice the body where the worry sits. The jaw, the stomach, the shoulders. Say to yourself, quietly, I cannot carry this alone tonight. Then imagine placing it on the Bible in my lap, or setting it on the table beside you. See the worry take the shape of a small stone. Second, breathe with me. In for 4 counts. Hold for 2. Out for 6. Azerantir. Think the word request. As air leaves. Imagine the stone easing from the hand and settling gently into someone's care. Repeat this twice. The breath is the bridge. It moves the worry from clench to release. Third, give thanks. It can be one thing, a warm blanket, a small kindness received today, the breath of a friend, a memory of light. Keep the sentence short. Thank you for the cup I drank, for the roof tonight, for the voice that rang in the morning. Let the thanksgiving sit like a small coin in the hand. The act of noticing a mercy is itself a quiet word of trust. Finally, imagine a peace, not a flashy thing, not absence of trouble. Picture a slow river at night. It does not shout at the wind. It lays a steady hand on the banks. Picture that river winding through the place where worry has dug channels. The water smooths edges. It does not erase the bedrock. It simply covers it with a calm layer. That calm is what is promised to guard the heart and mind. Guard does not mean isolation. It means steadying, keeping watch, allowing rest, even when storms pass overhead. I say the word guard because it feels practical. Imagine a gentle sentinel at a doorway. The sentinel is not a harsh judge. It is a steady presence that notices what tries to rush in. It allows what is good. It slows what would overwhelm. If an anxious thought comes back, the sentinel raises a hand and asks, is this thought needed now? If not, it places it gently on a shelf until morning. The shelf is safe for the night. Sometimes prayer looks like long sentences. At other times it looks like a few honest words. Tonight, I offer a very short pattern to use again and again. Hold a worry. Name it to the quiet. Let the breath carry it away. Name one small thing to be thankful for. Picture the peace as a soft cloak around the shoulders. Repeat as needed. There is no shame in returning to the practice a dozen times. Repetition is the work of settling. I will tell a plain memory that helps me keep the method. Once, in a season when lists would not stop, I set a notepad on the bedside table. Each night I wrote one worry and one thing for which I was grateful. I did not try to fix the worry on paper. I only named it and then wrote the small mercy. The habit taught my hands to open. The chest began to ease. The mind learned that the night is not for doing all the work. It is a time for handing over and for noticing what remains good. The peace described here does not demand answers before it arrives. Sometimes an answer never comes by morning. The relief is not in the resolution, but in the release. The mind and the body can rest more easily when the hands are not clenched around every possible outcome. Prayer is not a transaction. It is a posture. It trains the heart to lean, again and again, into a presence that will tend the trouble in due time. I remind myself that Thanksgiving need not be a laundry list of grand things. The gentle things matter most. A soft sock slid on warm foot, a kettle that sang twice in a day, the small voice that laughed despite the ache. These are the tender mercies that frequently arrive without fanfare. To notice them is to widen the aperture of the heart so that light can come in. The practice also permits boundaries. To present a worry does not always mean chasing it to solution tonight. There is wisdom in setting a care down and saying, "Not now." The shelter of the night is not ignorant. It simply knows its own limits. In the morning, questions can be revisited with clearer thought. For now, the heart is allowed to breathe. If the mind protests that this is naive, I answer with simplicity. This method is a small muscle. It grows with use. The first nights may feel awkward. The jaw may still clench. But with steady repetition, the hands open more quickly. Peace becomes a habit like a nightly walk or a simple brushing of teeth. It becomes one of the quiet rituals that shape the rest. I ask you now to try the practice with me. Slowly, gather one worry into the palm. Breathe in for 4. Hold 2. Breathe out for 6. Let the worry slip. Name one small thanks. Picture the peace, like soft light on the bed. Repeat if needed. Let the hands lower. Let the shoulders ease. When sleep comes, carry the image with you. The river keeps flowing beneath the night. The sentinel keeps watch. The shelf holds what need not be carried now. If wakefulness returns, return to the pattern. The practice is patient and kind. It allows repeats without scolding. There will be nights when the worry is stubborn. It returns like a persistent weather. In those times, do not force faith. Do the small things: warm water, a blanket, a short line of scripture, read quietly. Let the breath become the work that steadies the body. Let Thanksgiving be the small proof that not everything is undone. Little by little, the practice accumulates into a gentleness that will hold. I keep the theology light because the night asks for simplicity. The promise I lean on is this: when requests are brought with a thankful heart, a peace arrives that keeps the inner life safe. It does not solve everything at once. It does not wipe away grief. It changes the relationship to it. That difference is often enough for sleep to come. Before I fold the page, I whisper a quiet benediction. May the mind find a resting place tonight. May small thanks open the hands you use to grip fear. May a calm guard the heart and the thoughts. May sleep come without hurry. When morning comes, the burdens that remain may look smaller by a fraction. That fraction can be the start of more steady days. I close the Bible softly. The book makes a small sound like a door settling. The lamp keeps its watch. If you wish, practice the pattern once more. Hold one worry. Breathe. Let it go. Give thanks. Picture the peace that guards the room. I will be here to read again when dusk returns. For now, let the breath carry you toward rest. Let the calm keep your heart and mind in gentle keeping. I slow my voice and ask for a pause. Breathe with me. Breathe slow and plain. The body needs that first small mercy. The mind will follow. Sit or lie as you are. Let your hands rest. Let the shoulders drop. Close the eyes if that helps. If not, let the gaze soften toward a single point. I will lead a brief meditative exercise now. It is simple. It moves from the tightness of worry to a steadier peace through prayer and thankfulness. Start with 3 deep breaths. In for 4, hold 2, out for 6. Keep the exhale longer than the inhale. Let each breath be an anchor. I do this with you. The rhythm begins to slow the chest. The mind finds a place to land. As you breathe out, imagine a burden leaving you. Picture it as a small stone in the hand. Feel the weight of that stone. Notice where the weight sits in the body, the jaw, the throat, the place where the ribs press. On the next out breath, open the palm and let the stone fall into a shallow stream. Watch it sink. Watch the water move the color of worry away. The image is quiet. It is not magic. It is a way to let the body practice, release, breathe in gently, breathe out, and put down another stone. This time, imagine a name, a concern, a fear. You do not have to sort it all out. You only need to place the thing for a moment in the current and let the flow take the edge off. Repeat this 2 or 3 times. Each small release relieves tension just enough for the next breath to feel lighter. Now, shift the picture. See burdens as fallen leaves on a slow river. Each time you exhale, watch one leaf glide away. The river does not hurry. It carries what it can. It does not judge the shape of the leaves. It simply moves them. Let the mind be like that river for a short while. Let the leaves go. If a particular worry returns, do not force it to vanish. Bring it into the light of the present breath. Name it softly if naming helps. Say the word once in your head. Then place it on the surface of the water and watch it drift. The practice is patient. It invites repetition. You may return to the river many times tonight. That is all right. With the next 3 breaths, notice the body more deliberately. Take in air and let fingers curl gently. On the out-breath, unclench the hands. Let the shoulders loosen a fraction. Let the jaw soften. I will ask the body to practice gentle release. The small physical changes support the inner shifting. Now I invite a brief sweep from feet to face. Breathe in and bring attention to the feet. As you breathe out, imagine the feet releasing the day's fatigue into the floor. Move that attention slowly up the legs. At each exhale, let the muscles soften. Let the hips sink a little deeper. Notice the hands and arms. Let them grow heavy. Bring the breath to the chest. Let the breath widen the ribs. On the exhale, allow the tightness to ease. Finally, bring gentle focus to the face. Soften the brow. Let the mouth rest, with the body more settled. I steer the mind toward thanksgiving. Thankfulness changes the heart's posture. It does not pretend trouble away. It simply opens a space where mercy can sit. Think of 3 small mercies from today. They need not be large. One could be the taste of warm tea. One could be a moment of rest between tasks. One could be the sound of a voice that did not demand much. Hold each mercy for a single breath. Let the breath be a quiet offering. Say thank you in a soft way. You may use a single word. You may dwell on the feeling. Let the gratitude be plain and honest. Now make these thanksgivings part of the breath. Breathe in and name the small mercy. Breathe out and let the gratitude rest like a coin in the palm. Repeat for each of the 3 things. The practice rewires attention. It trains the heart to notice the good that still exists, even in hard seasons. Next, place both hands softly over the chest. Feel the warmth. Feel the steady rise and fall. With the hands there, offer the burdens you set on the river back into a larger care. You may imagine handing them to a steady presence. You may picture them moved into deep water where they cannot harm you tonight. The form of the giving is less important than the act of letting go. Offer a brief prayer, if that feels right. Keep it short. The words can be only a few lines. Name one specific need. Then add the small phrase of thanks you rehearsed. For example, you might breathe and think, I bring this worry now. I bring this with thanks for the small mercy. Or simply, here is the weight. Thank you for the light that comes. Make the prayer the length of one inhale and one exhale. Keep the tone gentle, not urgent. If words do not come, remain in the posture. A silent handing is prayer too. Presence often hears what the mouth cannot voice. The act of opening the hands is itself a sign of trust. It is not a heroic faith. It is a small, steady telling of the truth. I am not able to carry this alone tonight. Now picture the peace that follows release. The peace is not a sudden cure. The peace is like a soft cloth laid across the shoulders. It does not remove every ache. It keeps the chill from biting as sharply. Imagine a warm, dim light at the heart. It spreads slowly outward. The skin registers the warmth, and the breath grows a little deeper. Let that warmth be a quiet companion. As the warmth spreads, feel its practical effects, noticing a little less tightness at the throat, a softer cadence to thoughts, a permission to rest. The peace, I invite you to imagine, sits like a careful watch. It does not erase the day's problems. It keeps them from dominating the night. Take 3 more deep breaths together. In for 4, hold for 2, out for 6. With each exhale, let the mind practice returning to the river and the leaves, to the stones and their sinking. These images become tools you can reach for again and again. There is no rush to master them. Use them as small acts of mercy toward yourself. I remind you that this exercise can be short. It can also be longer if sleep does not come. Repeat the cycle release. Thank. Hand over until the body begins to slow. If the mind rises with new worries, treat each as a pebble to place and let go. The night is patient in this practice. Before I close this exercise, anchor one simple phrase to return to. Choose a few words that feel like shelter. Let them be short. Something like, I am held, or peace is near. Repeat the phrase quietly on the inhale and exhale for 1 minute. Let the phrase be a small hinge to swing the thought toward rest. Now, as a brief benediction, I invite a soft prayer of thanks. Thank the small mercies you named. Thank the unseen care that keeps watch. Ask for the ease of sleep and for mercy to meet what remains hard. Keep the prayer short. Keep it honest. Let it be the last small act before rest. When you are ready, soften the hands on your chest and let them fall. Stay with the breath for as long as you need. You may drift into sleep with these images. You may remain awake a while. Either way, the practice is yours to return to. It is an easy habit. It will not solve everything. It will, however, help the night hold less tightly. I will keep the lamp low here. I will sit with the Bible in my lap a moment longer. If it helps, return to the river in your mind. Repeat the small ritual of release. Gratitude. And handing over, let prayer be a whisper. Let thanksgiving be a steadying coin. Let peace arrive like a soft cloth at the shoulders. When you rise in the morning, you may notice a small difference. Perhaps the chest feels lighter. Perhaps the mind allows a thought to be tender instead of sharp. This practice is meant to be gentle and repeatable. Use it again. Use it often. The work of moving from anxiety to peace is not a single leap. It is a series of soft steps taken in the quiet. For now, rest into the slow rhythm. Breathe once more. In for 4, out for 6. Let the river take another leaf. Let the coin of thanks sit in the palm. Let the small prayer rest like a note under a pillow. I will read again in time. For tonight, let the quiet do its work. Let mercy tend what is weary. Let peace keep watch. I sit with the book open and the lamp low. The room holds its hush like a held hand. Tonight I take a line that has followed me for many evenings. I read it slowly. I do not repeat it word for word. I let its meaning breathe into the space between us. Jesus gives a peace that is not the same as the world's peace. The world often promises quiet through control, through the absence of disturbance, or through the illusion that everything is arranged just so. That kind of peace depends on conditions. It can vanish with the next phone call, the next worry, the next knock. The peace I speak of is different. It arrives like a gift left on the bedside table, wrapped without fuss. It is meant to be received without having earned it. I set the image of a small gift before you. Imagine a box no larger than your palm. It sits within reach. The paper is soft. The ribbon is undone. Inside is a simple thing, a calm that fits your hand. It does not ask you to prove anything. It does not list failures. It only rests where you can take it. When you lift it, the shoulders ease a little. The breath finds a touch more space. I remind you that this peace is a bequest. It is spoken as an inheritance, not a prize. In the quiet voice of the night, I pass that image along. I say, here is something to carry into sleep. It steadies without demanding that you first make everything right. It will not remove the day's problems. It loosens the grip they have on the chest. This peace is practical. It shows itself in steadying the pulse. It steals the edge from tight thoughts. It is gentle and persistent. When storms rage outside, it does not promise that the wind will stop. It promises that someone sits with you while the wind blows. The presence tilts the frame of fear slightly. The tilt is small, but enough to change the direction of the next step. I keep the sentences plain. Long theology belongs to another hour. Tonight the heart needs a warm, uncomplicated thing. I suggest holding one small scene in the mind. Picture a light set at the head of a narrow path. The light is not bright enough to reveal the whole road. It shows only the next safe footfall. That is the peace offered. It is guidance and calm wrapped together. It helps take one careful step, then another. The difference between this peace and worldly ease matters. Worldly ease rests on neat outcomes. The peace I pass along rests on an assurance. It is like a lighthouse that stands through the weather. The sea still churns. The ship still pitches. Yet a fixed point remains. That anchor steadies the hands of sleep. You do not have to understand every current. You can rest in the fact that a lamp watches. I speak about fear with tenderness. Fear is a faithful noise in the night. It knows where to press. It makes small things into mountains. When fear comes, do not try to force it into silence by willpower. Bring it into the light of this peace. Set the worry beside the lamp. Let the lamp's warmth be a different thing on which the mind may rest. The worry does not vanish. It becomes more manageable. There is a mercy in the giving. The peace is not a conditional favor. It is offered without a ledger. It is not earned by achievement or erased by failure. That fact changes how the heart approaches rest. The body is allowed to receive care. The hands can unclench. The jaw can soften. Those small physical shifts open the door for sleep. I invite a different kind of breath now, not the long guided counts I often name. This is simpler. Breathe slowly and gently. Imagine inhaling the presence of that small gift. Let the exhale be a soft placing of worry onto the bedside table. Do this a few times. No hurry. Each breath is a small demonstration that the gift is being accepted. Picture a lullaby that is not sung but present. The tune is a memory of good things, a toast of warm bread, a laugh shared, a hand that steadied you once. The tune plays low. It does not demand attention. It drifts in like a warm shawl. Peace lives in such small music. It is not a triumphal fanfare. It is a steady undercurrent that keeps the heart from spinning. I do not ask for denials of grief. Grief can be a companion. It sits in the chair beside you and sometimes speaks aloud. Let it speak. Let it be. The peace I describe learns to hold grief without smoothing it away. It does not compete with sorrow. It keeps a hand on the shoulder. That holding is itself a kind of calm. Hope and this peace are close cousins. Hope is not a promise that all trouble will be removed. It is the quiet confidence that the night will end and that some kind of morning will come. This bequeathed peace lives in that confidence when the day feels like an unending grey. This peace is a small permission to close the eyes for a while. It tells the heart that rest is not betrayal of vigilance. It is preparation to meet another day with less rawness. I use an image of a garden that has been tended in secret. You do not see the gardener at all hours. Sometimes the soil lies bare through winter, yet the roots survive. Spring comes slowly. Tiny shoots appear. The garden's revival does not happen suddenly. It is a patient unfolding. The peace that is given tonight is like the warmth that reaches the roots. It does not rush a bloom. It returns enough warmth for the next small sign of life. This gift changes how decisions feel, not by making choices less weighty. It simply adds a steadier base. When the morning arrives, choices come with less panic. The mind that rested a little thinks more clearly. The hands that relaxed slightly act with steadier aim. The peace is not a magic formula. It is a practical ally in the small tasks. I say this with care. Receiving peace is not passivity. It is not running away from responsibility. It is a deliberate posture of trust. When the urge comes to fix everything at once, remember the lamp and the small light on the path. The next right step is often the only one you can manage. Let the peace keep you steady for that step. Tonight, I return to mercy. Be kind to the self. The inner critic is loudest at night. It counts errors and insists on immediate correction. Offer mercy instead. Think of one soft phrase to say to the inner voice. Perhaps it is as simple as, "I am allowed a night to breathe." Repeat that line as a small practice. There is power in soft words spoken slowly. If reconciliation with a person is on your mind, this peace helps without rushing the outcome. It steadies the heart so that one may approach with clearer speech. It gives the courage to make small repairs. It also sustains the heart when repairs are not possible. The bequest is unconditional. It steadies even lonely hands. I lower the voice. The lamp breathes a small circle of light. There is a closing image I keep for you. Imagine a quilt folded at the foot of the bed. Its patches are many colors. Some stitches are fresh. Some are older and show the hands that mended them before. The quilt is warm. It does not erase the cold nights. It offers a close and steady wrap. Accept the quilt tonight. Let the bequeathed peace be that covering. Before I close the book, I make a small benediction. May this peace, not like the world's, sit at your side. May it steady the chest when thoughts race. May it give a gentle courage for the next small step. May mercy be with the places that ache. May hope remain a quiet ember you can tend. Rest now. Receive the small gift. Sleep with the lamp of calm watching. I close the Bible gently. The sound is soft. My hand rests on the cover a moment as if to promise a return. The room keeps its hush. The night leans that way with a friendly patience. If waking returns before morning, return to the small image of the gift and the light on the path. Let the breath guide the handing over. When morning asks, move with the steadiness this peace has given. For now, sleep. Let this calm hold you. The lamp keeps its small circle. The Bible rests where my hands can find it in the dark. The house is quiet, except for the slow tick of the clock. In moments of uncertainty, I have found divine peace to be the anchor that steadies my soul. Much like gentle waves, calming a small boat that has been tossed too long on open water. I remember a season of waiting that felt endless. A decision sat heavy on the table. Sleep thinned. The list of what-ifs ran like a creek through the night. The chest tightened. Thoughts circled like restless birds. I did not have answers. I had only the next hour and the breath in my lungs. That is where the practice begins. Not with solutions, not with clever fixes. With a simple posture, I set the Bible on my knee. I let my hands rest loose. I keep the lamp low so the page glows, but the world beyond the room softens. The posture itself is a small permission to be smaller than the problem for a little while. Peace arrives differently than expected. It does not pluck the problem away. It anchors the heart so the storm cannot pull me under. Picture a small anchor dropped from a skiff. The water still moves. The waves still lift the bow. The anchor does its work deep beneath the surface. The boat can breathe. It does not have to fight every swell. In the same way, a quiet trust settles underneath uncertainty. The mind still worries. The body still trembles. But the tremor is held. I do not always notice the change at first. The first night I try this, the fingers still curl into the blanket. My jaw still aches. I read a short verse aloud. Just one line that will not demand an answer. I let the syllables fall in a slow cadence. The words are plain. They speak of presence and a steady hand. Reading is not performance. It is companioning. The voice becomes a familiar thing in the room. Like the clock's tick or the lamp's warmth. Between the lines I breathe. In for 4. Hold for 2. Out for 6. The breath is a gentle tide. Each exhale is a small vessel set down at the shore. The body listens to that rhythm more quickly than the mind does. Muscles begin to loosen. The jaw eases. The shoulders drop a fraction. These small shifts are evidence that an anchor is doing its quiet work. There is a mercy in such smallness. Uncertainty often feels like a large room, with all the doors closed. Mercy shows up as a single door, left open a crack. The light spills in just enough to see a step. A cup of tea becomes one of those cracks. A brief line of scripture becomes another. A friend's short message, nothing elaborate, counts as mercy. These things do not rewrite the plot of a life. They change the posture with which it is met. Practical acts matter. I put a glass of water by the Bible. I fold a blanket over my knees. I press my palm to the spine of the book and let the texture of its pages remind me of other nights that passed. The ritual is gentle. It trains the hands to do things that say, "In small ways you are tended here." Sometimes the anchor is more visible. Once, on a night when decisions felt like cliffs, I walked to the window and watched a slow tide at the small inlet near my house. The water moved without hurry. It made its own shapes and then settled. The sight steadied me more than any list of pros and cons could. In that moment I felt a confidence that did not require certainty. I could do the next thing. That confidence was the anchor's effect. It did not answer every question, but it made the next step possible. I teach myself a practice for such nights. It is no grand ritual. It is small and repeatable. First, pick one worry. Only one. Hold it in the mind as a pebble. Notice where it sits in the body. Second, breathe with a slow count. In 4, hold 2, out 6. With each out breath, imagine the pebble sliding into water. Do this until the shoulders lower. Third, name one small thing to be grateful for. It can be a plain thing, a warm lamp, a soft blanket, a voice that called, "Let the gratitude rest like an anchor on the shore." It is not a denial of trouble. It is a counterweight that allows the hand to unclench. Fourth, place the Bible gently back on the lap or the table. Let the page be a reminder rather than an exam. The book does not demand answers tonight. It offers images that steady. Return to it as often as the mind draws you back. When the nights pile up, the practice repeats. Repetition is not dullness. It is muscle memory for the soul. The first few attempts may feel awkward. The breath pattern may not change the racing thoughts at once. Keep going. The anchor deepens with each steadying act. I am careful about language here. I do not offer trite promises. I do not suggest that peace removes risk or pain. It does not. It allows the heart to carry what must be carried with less ruin. It frees the hands for the next small, faithful thing. There are times when help arrives from others. A neighbor drops by with a simple loaf. A friend leaves a note with 3 short sentences. These acts are practical anchor chains. They tether not only the heart, but the ordinary life dishes washed. Mail sorted. A walk taken. They remind me that peace is not entirely solitary. It often comes through hands and feet. Hope grows quietly alongside peace. It is not a bright sun. It is an ember, kept sheltered from the wind. Feed it with small acts, rest a little longer. Take a short walk. Answer one necessary message tomorrow, rather than tonight. These tiny choices keep the ember from going out. Or team. They make the path ahead less sharp. When decisions finally come, they rarely arrive as thunderclaps. They come as clearer mornings. The mind that sleeps a little more easily sees things differently. The hands that loosen make steadier choices. I do not promise radical cures. I promise a steadier meeting of what comes. If uncertainty presses now, try this with me. Close the eyes if that helps. Draw one deep breath. Hold it. Release slowly. Picture a small boat on a quiet inlet. Drop the anchor. Watch the water move around the line without dragging the vessel into the deep. Feel the small steadiness take the edge from the chest. Let that feeling sit for a moment. Choose a single line from the Bible you can carry tonight. Keep it short. Say it once before sleep. Let it act as a tether. It will not explain every fact. It will steady the heart enough to rest. Simple phrases become faithful tools if used often. I do not end with a tidy fix. I invite a gentle habit. Let the lamp be low. Let the page be soft. Breathe. Place one pebble on the shore and let the tide take it. Let a single act of thanks rest in the palm. Allow the quiet to do its work. Before I close the book tonight, I press a hand to the cover and say a small benediction in my head. May peace steady the places that tremble. May mercy meet what is fragile. May hope be held like a small ember you can warm by habit. The lamp still glows. The clock moves slow. Rest is invited. Rest arrives when an anchor is dropped and the hands learn to relax. If sleep comes, carry the anchor into dreams. If wakefulness remains, return to the breath and the pebble and the glass of water. I will be here with the pages. I will read when the hour asks. For now, take the gentle peace and let it hold you in the uncertain dark. Shalil, Psalm 461, Overview. I open the page with a careful hand. The lamp makes a small pool of light on the paper. I speak the idea slowly so it can sink into the room. God is our refuge and strength. That thought is plain and firm. It names a shelter when the wind bites. It names a power that steadies a shaking frame. I do not preach. I point to an image you can carry. Imagine a stone house by the sea. The waves come hard. Spray bangs the windows. Inside the door closes and the hearth warms. The house does not deny the storm. It simply keeps the inside safe enough to breathe. The Psalm's claim feels like that house. The words do not promise no storm. They promise a place to be held while the storm moves. Strength, in this way, is not loud. It is a quiet steadiness. Think of a pair of hands that lift a small child onto a knee. The hands do not strain to be noticed. They simply hold. Immediate help looks like that hand on the shoulder at a midnight hour. It looks like someone who listens without a long list of rules. It looks like a presence that answers sooner than expected. Refuge also speaks to the anxious places inside. A tired mind tightens into a small circle. The chest feels cramped. The psalm opens a window in that circle. Breath comes in. The thought that relief is close steadies the beating heart. This steadiness reinforces faith in a gentle way. Faith is not forced. It relaxes a clenched jaw, enough to try again. I read these lines for the bedside because they fold into ordinary life. They are not abstract. They meet real nights. A sudden worry about money. A grief that returns like a shadow. A long decision that refuses to be settled. The Psalm's image arrives as a practical thing, a hand, a house, a welcome. That is the kind of help I hold up when the night presses. The Psalm also names speed. The help is immediate. It appears when the trouble feels pressing. In my small life, I remember a phone call in the dark that changed nothing about the fact, but changed everything about my posture. Someone's voice brought that immediate help. The promise reads like that. Help does not always remove the danger. It arrives in such a way that the danger feels less like an abyss and more like a crossing with someone steady at the oar. I ask you to imagine that arrival. Picture the sudden hush after a long alarm. A hand closes over yours. The world does not rearrange itself instantly. Your grip loosens a little. The shoulder you carry the world on relaxes by a fraction. That fractional ease is enough for one more hour of rest. It is enough to make the next step possible. Mercy lives in the middle of this image. The refuge is not given to those who are clever or relentless. It arrives like rain, not like wages. It falls on the good and the broken. The unconditionality is what calms the heart. To know that help is not a reward but a given changes how the chest rests. It allows surrender without shame. I read the psalm aloud in a voice that does not demand answers. The words are a soft rope thrown to a person clinging to a cliff. Take hold if you can. If you cannot, breathe and let the rope sit against your palm. Presence is patient. In the dark, the rope is enough. When I close the psalm, I do not try to solve all the problems that brought you here. That is not the work of midnight pages. Instead, I offer a posture, lay down one weight, notice one small mercy. Let the claim that God is refuge and strength become a practical tool, a remembered image to return to, a sentence to repeat when the mind starts listing horrors, a small lamp to show the next step, shichi, preparing for sleep. As night deepens, I take a few quiet actions. The lamp stays low. The Bible rests on my knee. I arrange a small glass of water and a folded blanket within reach. These actions are tiny and deliberate. They tell the body it may stop doing all the work for a while. I invite a short ritual. It is plain and repeatable. First, set aside devices that buzz. Let their light be dark for the night. Second, wash the hands or splash the face with cool water. The skin remembers sensation. The coolness loosens a tight jaw. A small domestic act signals the body to unwind. I speak in present tense and short sentences, so the mind can follow without effort. Breathe with me. In for 4, hold 2, out for 6. Do this 3 times. The breaths act like small gates. Each exhale opens one more. The chest grows roomier. The shoulders fall. Next, pick one worry to hand over. Only one. Choose the loudest. Imagine it as a pebble in the palm. Say it silently. Simple and plain. Now set that pebble on the bedside table. Picture a larger hand picking it up. Entrust it with a posture of thanksgiving. Name one small thing that held kindness today. A warm drink, a brief laugh, a steady clock. Let the gratitude be the bridge that hands the pebble over. I often repeat a short phrase in my mind. As I do this, it is not a theological knot to untie. It is a tiny hinge. I am not alone. I use it like a key to open the small box of the night. Do not press the phrase for proof. Let it be a soft sound that stops the mind's relentless tallying. Prepare the bed next. Straighten the sheet. Fold the blanket with care. These actions are not chores to punish yourself. They are small acts of hospitality for your own body. The hands that make the bed tell the nerves they can relax. The body recognizes routine and responds to it. If sleep will be slow, choose a small light, a lamp with a soft glow, the kind of light that speaks of presence rather than spectacle. Keep the Bible or a single verse tucked within reach. The text will be a companion, not a test. If words come to you, allow a short reading. If not, simply let the book be a quiet neighbor on the table. I speak of prayer gently here. Prayer is a handing over, plain as setting a cup on a saucer. It does not demand long sentences. It can be a breath that says, "This is too much for me alone." It can be a short thanks for one mercy. The posture matters more than eloquence. Open the hands. Lay down the worry. Breathe. A short breathing pattern helps when the mind tumbles. In for 4. Hold 2. Out for 6. With the out breath, imagine the worry leaving like a small leaf on a slow stream. Watch it drift. Do this until the chest feels lighter by a fraction. Repetition does the work here. The body learns a new habit through small, repeated acts. If the night brings grief, do not try to be braver than you are. Allow yourself to feel. Tears are not a weakness in the dark. They are a kind of washing. Let them come if they must. If crying happens, rest and do not shame the grief. After tears, return to the breath and the small giving of one pebble. Gentle practices tend a tired heart back toward rest. Sometimes an imagery helps more than words. Picture a small harbor in low light. Boats bob gently. A single lamp stands fixed on the headland. The water moves, but does not drag the boats away. The lamp is the promise that you can be steadied. Let that image be a cradle for the mind until the eyelids grow heavy. Prepare your sleeping position with kindness. Support under the knees. Pillows where the shoulders pull. A rolled towel where the back feels hollow. These are small engineering measures that reduce night discomfort. They attend the body as a sibling to the soul. Care for the flesh gently, and the spirit follows. If the mind still quarrels with the dark, try a short list of small mercies, 3 items only. Say them quietly: a warm cup, a friend's brief message, a clean shirt. Let the list be plain. Gratitude here is not a parade. It is a lamp stirred into life. It makes a space to breathe through. I remain a little while longer in the room. My voice grows softer. The lamp lowers its glow. The pace slows. I place a quiet bookmark where the page rests. The book is not closed forever. I will come back when the night allows. For now, rest is the necessary task. If sleep comes, let it arrive without hurry. Do not demand dreams. Allow fragments at first. Rest repairs in pieces. If wakefulness remains, repeat the small acts. Breathe. Hand over one pebble. Name one mercy. Soften the jaw. These are the tools of the night. They are simple and faithful. I leave you with a deliberate end. Lay the hands open. Take one slow breath. Offer the day's worry in that breath and let it go. Feel the blanket's weight settle like a gentle hand. Receive the small peace that does not eliminate trouble, but steadies the chest enough to move with the morning. The lamp keeps watch a little longer. The Bible waits on the table. I will read again when the hour calls. For now, let mercy meet the tired places. Let hope breathe like a small ember. Rest in the refuge and the strength that comes near in the dark. I sit very still and listen. The lamp breathes a small circle of light. The Bible rests where my hand can find it. I keep my voice quiet. It matches the hush around us. Tonight we have walked through a few simple truths. We have named shelter, presence, and mercy. We have practiced small acts of handing over. We have breathed together. The room is softer for it. The heart can feel the change, even if it is slight. I speak now as one who reads these pages at dusk. I do not offer grand answers. I offer a way to finish the day with a gentleness that helps the body rest. The work is gentle. It is not hurried. It is meant to be repeated. Embrace the stillness now. Not the absence of sound, not the emptying of thoughts. Embrace a soft attention. Let the mind come home to the body. Let the world slow down to the pace of a breath. Place one hand on the chest if that feels right. Feel the steady rise and fall. Follow it with the eyes closed. Count nothing. Simply feel. The breathing is a small map back to rest. I remind you of one short practice we have used before. Breathe in for 4 counts. Hold for 2. Breathe out for 6 counts. Do it 3 times. Let each exhale take away a fraction of the tightness. Allow the body to accept the ease. The pattern is small and reliable. Use it again if the night returns with worry. Bring to mind one small mercy from this day. Not the big things you think you should find. The small ones are the generous gifts, a warm cup, a brief laugh, a song on the radio, a hand that steadied you. Let that mercy sit in the palm like a pebble you can hold without strain. Feel how the memory loosens the jaw. Now take the loudest worry you carry. Make it a pebble in the other hand. You do not need to fix it tonight. You only need to place it down. Imagine setting that stone on a table by the Bible. See a steady hand pick it up. Picture the hand bearing it for a while. The image is not a denial of reality. It is a permission to rest. I read a short line from the Psalms and keep it simple. The words are not an argument. They are a lamp. Let them be brief and clear a shelter for the spirit. Say them slowly in your mind. Let the phrase sit like a small coin. Let it ring hollow enough to change the shape of the worry when you think it again. Trust is not always a leap. It is a tilt. Tilt a little now. You do not jump. You lean toward the quiet promise that care is near. Let the tilt be enough to unclench the shoulders by a fraction. Small changes add up. If sorrow presses, do not hide it. Let it be present. Tears are not failure. They are part of the heart's language. If a tear comes, let it fall. Let the breath that follows be soft. After the crying, breathe and place the pebble on the table again. The act of letting go is the mercy. I remind you that rest repairs. Even brief sleep mends the edges of a frayed day. A few moments of true rest change the tone of a morning. Do not demand a perfect night. Ask only for true rest. Let sleep be piece by piece. Allow fragments. Allow pauses. The Bible lies in my lap like a companion. I do not press it for answers tonight. I ask it to hold a few images for us. A harbor that accepts the small boat. A lamp that shows the next step. A shepherd who walks beside. These images will serve in the dark. They do not solve everything, but they steady the feet. Here is a tiny ritual to finish the evening. Set your phone or device away. Let the bright lights rest. Wash your hands or splash cool water on your face. Smooth the covers. Fold the blanket across the knees. Each small action tells the nervous system it is safe to quiet down. Place the Bible or a single verse where your hand can find it. Keep a glass of water near. Do not arrange a long to-do list. Make a tiny list of only what must be done in the morning. Write it down and let it rest. Then close the list. The act of writing is a practical handing over. I whisper a short prayer in the quiet. Few words are enough. I say, here is this worry. Here is my thanks for a small mercy. Not more, not less. The posture matters. Let the hands be open. Let the shoulders drop. The prayer is a small offering. No demand. If the mind returns to rehearsing problems, bring it gently back to the breath pattern. Repeat the short phrase you have chosen to steady the heart. Use that tiny hinge as often as needed. There is no shame in repeating. Each repetition is a stitch in a quiet garment you wear to sleep. Remember that mercy often comes through small, ordinary things. A bowl of soup, a neighbor who knocks gently, a short note left by a friend. Let those small things be proof that care exists. Do not require miracles tonight. Accept the modest kindnesses that arrive in daily life. Hope is not a flash. It is a slow ember. Tend it with tiny acts. Fold one blanket. Make one small plan for the morning. Let the plan be simple. A cup, a short walk, a task that will not overrun the day. The ember grows when tended with gentleness. If forgiveness needs to begin, start with one pebble. Forgive a single small thing tonight. You do not have to absolve every hurt. Choose one petty stone to let go. Watch it sink in the river of your mind. The act of release lightens the shoulders, even slightly. That slightness matters. I speak now to the body as much as the spirit. Arrange support under the knees. Set a pillow to ease the neck. Let the legs find a comfortable position. Small physical comforts free the mind to rest. Attend to the flesh tenderly. The soul will follow. If sleep comes, let it arrive without wresting control. Allow it. If wakefulness remains, do not judge the night. Stay with the breathing. Repeat the ritual of placing one worry beside the Bible and naming one small mercy. The practice is patient and kind. The night is long and will contain its own slow work. I will remain a while longer with the lamp low. I will hold the book in my lap like a steady neighbor. The pages are familiar. They do not expect perfect faith. They expect presence. I keep a short benediction in my head. Be gentle with what is tired. Let mercy meet the places that ache. When you are ready, close your eyes. Let the breath be the last small action you carry into sleep. Breathe in for 4. Hold 2. Breathe out for 6. Imagine the pebbles sliding into deep water. Feel the shoulders fall a little. Let the blanket settle like a hand. This is not a final cure. It is an invitation to rest. Surrender one small thing tonight. Leave the rest for morning and for care that arrives in time. Trust a little. Rest a little. Hope a little. I set the Bible gently aside and let my hand rest on the cover for a moment. The lamp dims its circle. The house breathes. I will read again, when you are ready. For now, let the stillness hold you. Let the night be a kind room where mercy visits slowly and hope waits like a small ember. Rest in that quiet. Let sleep begin. I sit very still. The lamp throws a warm circle. The Bible rests on my knee. My thumb keeps the place where we began tonight. I look at the pages like a friend. I breathe with you one last time. We have walked slowly through many small rooms of thought. We have kept to gentle steps. We have rested on images that hold rather than demand. Tonight is the final hour of this series. I keep the care the same. I keep my voice soft. First, a small settling. Breathe in for 4. Hold for 2. Breathe out for 6. Do that 3 times. Let each exhale be a gentle surrender. Let the shoulders drop. Let the jaw loosen. These breaths are the seam that stitches the day to rest. I will not rehearse all we read. There is no need. The images we used belong to you now. They are meant to be carried back into the dark pockets of the night. Keep the shepherd, the quiet lamp, the harbor, the repaired coat. Let them work in the hush. I speak one gentle truth again. God is near. The nearness is not loud. It is a presence that sits with ordinary things. It sits with your tossed sheets. It sits with your small worries. It sits with the things you cannot fix tonight. Presence is the steady thing we lean on. It is the hand at the back that does not shove. It is the light that shows the next step. Take another slow breath. Imagine that presence like a soft hand at your shoulder. It steadies the spine. It does not shame the tired. It does not demand productivity from sorrow. It rests with you. Let that picture be simple. Let it be true for this hour. If your night holds a sharp thing, fear, memory, regret, set it beside you for a moment. Make it into a small token and place it on the nightstand. You do not solve it now. You only name it and set it down. Place one thankful thing beside the token. A warm cup, a friend's voice, a memory of sunlight. Those 2 objects on the table balance the night. The act of placing them down is a small prayer. I offer a short practice you can take when sleep will not come. Choose one line from tonight that warms you. Keep it quiet. Repeat it slowly, with each breath. Let it work like a lullaby. If words fail, return to the breath pattern. The breath is faithful. It does not require eloquence. It only asks for presence. We began this sequence to tend the body and soothe the mind. That is the work I keep doing at the bedside. I read not to teach, but to shelter. I read not to win an argument, but to make room. If you have listened for hours or for a few minutes, the care is the same. Mercy arrives in fragments. Rest comes in pieces. Both are welcome. I want to say a few things about sharing this quiet with others. A small community grows from gentle acts. It does not need a program or a committee. It can start with a cup of tea taken to a neighbor. It can begin with a short message that says simply, I am thinking of you. It can be a weekly invite. Read a short psalm together and sit in silence for 5 minutes. Small rhythms join like stitches to make a garment of belonging. If you feel moved to share what helped you, do it plainly. Tell someone a single image that settled you, Send the line that was a lamp to an old friend. Invite a neighbor to sit with you in the evening for a short reading. Hospitality need not be ornate. It can be a candle, a share, a willingness to listen. Those tiny invitations build a community of grace and comfort. Practical ways to pass this on. Leave a bookmarked page in a Bible at a community center. Read a single short passage aloud at a family supper. Record for someone who cannot get out, and send the recording with a short note. The aim is not to convert anyone to a program. The aim is to share a practice that helps people breathe a little easier. I will say something now about mercy toward ourselves. Many nights we act as our own harshest guards. We keep lists of mistakes. We repost failures to our minds. Tonight, try a different small tenderness. Put a hand softly over your chest. Feel the warmth. Tell yourself in a quiet voice that rest is not scandalous. It is not surrender to weakness. It is a necessary tending. Small mercy begins by letting the body pause. If you need to forgive someone tonight, do not demand a finished reconciliation. Forgive a small thing. Let the first slip of release be private and manageable. The habit of loosening one pebble at a time lightens a long trek. Forgiveness often begins with a breath and a picture. Let the practice be small and repeated. There will be mornings after this night that feel different only a little. That is enough. A hand steadier by a fraction. A step taken without dread for a moment. The slow changes are real. Do not expect fireworks. Expect the steady build of small acts. Over time. They add up to real repair. Before I close, I read one final short line from memory, not to quote scripture exactly, but to bring its comfort. The thought is simple. Do not let worry rule the night. Bring your cares gently. Give thanks. Let a different peace. Keep watch. Let that idea sit like a small coin in your palm. Turn it over with calm hands. Let it anchor the chest. Now a short attempt at prayer. Join me in silence if you prefer. I speak quietly and slowly in the first person. I bring these things before the quiet. I offer the night's worries with a soft sigh. I name a small mercy. I rest the hand on the book as a sign of trust. The prayer is minimal because rest does not need theatricality. It needs honesty and a hand open to receive. May this time of reading and breathing be a routine you come back to. Let it be a gentle habit. Let it be a harbor for hard nights. If you find it helpful, start a small circle. If you prefer solitude, keep the practice personal. Either way, the gift of calm is not limited. I leave you with an invitation and a blessing. Accept the small practices. Repeat the breath. Keep one line to repeat in the dark. Place a thankful coin beside the night's token. Invite a neighbor sometimes. Share a short recording if a friend needs company. Let these acts build a quiet band of care around you. Finally, let God's word cradle you into restful sleep. Let it lie near like a soft blanket. Let its images hold your heart till morning. Share this peaceful journey with others, cultivating a community of grace and comfort. May His peace dwell with you tonight and always. I close the book gently. The lamp glows a little softer. The house breathes. I stay another moment. listening to the slow tick of the clock. When you are ready, let the eyelids fall. Let the breathing guide you. Let the small practices keep watch until morning. Good night. I will be here again when dusk returns. Rest now in the quiet care that will not quit.